franchise. I'm trying hard still with this one and succeeding mostly. I'm the I had the Eclipse. That's what I was gonna say.
Oh,
Yeah, I came up with that and then I forgot it.
that's pretty good, man.
Yeah, good
That's
stuff.
pretty
The
good.
Eclipse, Daniel Ehrenberg, and over there Henry Papali, up in Forks, New Jersey.
That's right. H Moon over here.
Great. You went with the other movie. We're doing New Moon and Eclipse today in the Twilight franchise. That's the second and third movies. They came out in very quick succession. We're cranking these babies out, and the kids are going mad for them, Henry. The kids are going mad for them. Can we get an update? After 3 films, are you Team Edward or Team Jacob?
For me? You're
Yeah.
asking me? I'm Team Edward.
Team Edward, it's turned!
No, I was Team Edward the first time.
No, I believe you were Team Jacob last week.
No, I was not.
All right, Henry, you would know better than I. This is an important life choice, and everybody knows what they are. As you know, Henry, I am still Team Mike Newton.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, in my heart of hearts, I'm Team Charlie, but I don't know if that counts.
I don't think we want... I believe the teams denote who we want to end up with Bella, Henry, and I do not want Charlie to. I do not want Bella to be going on any mustache rides in her future.
That'd probably be bad.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that.
Hey, let's bring in our guest. I haven't even hinted that we have a guest. That's good hosting.
That's right.
Now, her name, it's a female. I just revealed that in the gender pronoun that I chose to use. And she's been on the show before a few times, sometimes with her sister. That gives it away. We've only had one set of sisters on the show. And, which is weird. We both have twin nieces. We could have them on someday.
Hey!
Bring your nieces on the show. That'd be funny.
I think your nieces would be funnier.
Yeah, but it would be insufferable.
Aw.
They're 4. What do you want? All right, so let's bring her in. One half of the Real Weird Sisters, the greatest podcast there is about Harry Potter, not counting hours, even counting hours. Actually, it's better. Martha Crable, here she is.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I feel like I was waiting as long as Bella was depressed in New Moon for you guys to bring me in. I was just sitting here like, are they going to say my name? Am I going to get to talk yet? I had a lot of things to say in the last 2 minutes. But
Well, let's
thank you
hear
for
them.
having me.
Give us the laundry list.
ACAB includes Charlie. We'll say that. That's my first thought. And
Listen, I think it more includes Jacob's dad covering up evidence in that second movie.
okay, fair. Yeah, no, that was my main thought. And also, yeah, I'm glad that you pointed out we're not going to be Team Charlie for multiple reasons, not just what I just said.
That's right.
Yeah, I didn't really know that's exactly what that meant.
Yeah, because otherwise I'd just be Team Bella.
Right.
But that's not an
Although
option.
Why?
Well, because
Still
I
like
love
Charlie.
Bella. I mean, I root for Bella. Bella means
fun.
well. What do you mean? You can't root for Bella?
No, I cannot root for Bella. No, I have a lot of thoughts on Twilight. Having been a Harry Potter fan my whole life, I was very vehemently anti-Twilight for many years.
I was going to ask you about this because in doing the research for this week's episode, I noticed that Twilight and Harry Potter were up against each other for all of these awards. The Kids' Choice, the People's Choice, the Teen Choice.
And it was a really forced dichotomy. I feel like, I guess it makes sense with the films coming out around the same time. But as far as the level of depth goes and the plot points, even we have a very different what these stories are. Harry Potter is pretty much a children's story when it comes down to it, and this is just very different. So I was always very mad just at the forced. Everybody was trying to be oh, which one do you like better, Harry Potter or Twilight? And I was always well, Harry Potter's far superior. We can't even put them in the same category.
Now, you're implying that Harry Potter has more depth than Twilight. Henry, do you disagree with that statement?
Wow.
That's a serious question. I'm trying to probe at you.
Depends on if he wants to make an enemy tonight.
And but keep in mind, he's only a movie watcher. This fella's never read a word of that turf. And
I did know that.
Yeah.
I already got under Martha's ire for calling Montana a Midwestern state, so I don't want to do anything more.
No, it's okay to insult the Harry Potter movies. Honestly, if that's.
I wasn't going.
Henry loved the Harry Potter movies. Actually,
I actually did. Yeah, I did.
Especially
no,
the first one, if I remember.
That's right.
That's
the Half-Blood Prince. That's right. No, I could. That's pretty obvious. I mean, for all my issues with the J.K. Rowling stealing all kinds of shit and mythology from every culture imaginable, there's still far more issues going on that are
everything in Twilight is original.
Correct. and right. But Twilight is sophomoric compared to anything that Harry Potter did. Sophomoric.
I've got a better question. I'll ask both of you. If you had to take either J.K. Rowling or Stephenie Meyer on a date, which would it be?
I mean, neither. They're both awful.
Exactly.
I'm choose Stephenie Meyer now, though. I mean, I don't even say her name now, so I'm going to say Stephenie Meyer.
She who must not be named. You know, right. They are both just such nightmares. I can't even choose.
What did Rowling do recently, was it?
Oh, she's like ridiculously transphobic, like scarily.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's bad.
Okay.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer. Like not in like a woke way, Henry. In like a weird, like
an actual.
Yeah, in an actual way.
Real way.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're asking what she did recently, like yesterday, she played victim about her address being doxxed when literally it's on her on her Wikipedia or something, and like she like claimed that like a bunch of trans activists like hunted her down and found her address. So that's what she did most recently.
I didn't know about that. There's always something going on with her.
Yeah. Well, I'd be very difficult to have dinner with either. I would imagine it would be very difficult to have dinner with a Mormon. I haven't done that before. There'd be a novelty to that, I guess, having dinner with Stephenie Meyer, a Mormon. Rowling, would the date be in London?
No, I'm going to say they're both dates are to see the Mormon Tabernacle Choir.
They're lovely.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's a nice night out at the theater.
Yeah. I don't know what we'd talk about. There wouldn't be a lot to discuss.
Ask really specific Twilight questions. That's what I would do. I would ask about Mike Newton if he's based on anybody she knew.
Well, you, I think, would have a great deal more to say to both authors than I would. I don't really know what I would have to talk about.
Let me turn a question to Martha now. Are you Team Edward or Team Jacob?
I used to be. Well, okay. So again, like I didn't get to finish my story about. Twilight. So I didn't watch. I had read the first book. Like I tried to read the first book, and I probably didn't give it a very fair shot. But I was in like 8th grade, and I was like, I'm gonna read Twilight, and just to show that it's bad. And then I was like, I couldn't make it through the first like 4 chapters. Like that was what I would always say because it was so poorly written. And then I watched the first movie, but then I kind of like didn't watch anything else. And so actually my first time watching all 5 movies was at the beginning of the quarantine last spring, like April 2020. And then that was in preparation for a Sorting Hat episode that we did on our show. So,
those episodes, Henry, they sort the characters from different movie franchises and TV shows into the Harry Potter houses. So they would be like, well, obviously, I would say Dakota Fanning would be in Slytherin, right?
She was an easy one.
Right.
Would you say, how about this? The girl, her friend with glasses who's now dating the Asian kid?
Yeah.
Ravenclaw, right? She's a Ravenclaw.
I think we put her in Ravenclaw. She was in the lightning round, though. We didn't spend a lot of time talking about her.
Okay.
Christian Ratos.
Yeah, Rosita.
Her name's Rosita?
No, that's her name on The Walking Dead. That's the only other thing I know that actress from.
What's her name in this? Is it Christina?
It's Glasses one.
Oh, right. I forgot that. Anyway, I used to always say I was Team Jacob before having watched all 5 movies.
Yeah.
And then I watched all 5 movies a year and a half ago, and I was like, how can anybody actually be Team Jacob? Like, it's very clear you're supposed to be Team Edward. I mean, I don't really like either of them. I don't like Bella, but it's very clear that Edward is the one for Bella, and I'm rolling my eyes as I say that.
Neither of them are the one for Bella.
Well,
she needs to cut ties with these supernatural demons.
That's true.
And just date a regular guy.
Well, it's about the battle between who she should be and who she is, or whatever she says.
That's right.
Such meaningless bullshit. I turned my brain off during that monologue.
There's a lot of those monologues.
Every monologue, anytime they're in like a field talking, I'm like, get out of here.
I agree.
Except for the opening scene of New Moon with the grandmother, like that's cinema.
That is a classic. I gotta say, New Moon. I watched these like around the time they finished, like 2012, that period, and New Moon was my favorite at the time, and I gotta say,
it's a hot take.
I think it still is. It's great.
Yeah.
That's definitely not a popular opinion.
Is that true? What's the popular opinion with Twilight?
So my friend Marty, who is a big Twilight fan, is part of the reason why I ended up watching them. I mean, she's total Twihard, total Team Edward. She says that New Moon is the least popular one of the series, and that Eclipse is supposed to be the very best. So,
I was reading about Eclipse today, and it did seem to get along among the critics who loathed the first 2. It seemed to get some energy in that.
A lot of people said it was the most tolerable of the 3. But
yeah, I will say for me, it's a pretty steady stream here from 1, 2, 3.
You think they're getting worse? I can tell.
No, I do not.
Oh, do you think they're getting better?
No. I think they're keeping the status quo. Yeah, I think they're all very, very similar. I don't feel a lot of great differences, other than that Eclipse has some action that is refreshing, that is lacking in some of the other ones. I think it's I think it's probably because, despite who's directing, it's written by the same screenwriter. I think it keeps a consistency. I am not shitting on these movies either.
To me,
still,
the quality levels are wildly divergent. I disagree with that.
Interesting.
Yeah. And for me, by far the best one is New Moon.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Interesting.
Yeah. So let's get into this classic film. How about that?
Let's get into it.
I'm ready. All right. We have a new director. They apparently Hardwick wanted like a couple years pre-pro. And Summit was like, no, we got to get these fuckers out. Like, the kids are going to stop giving a shit. And they were right. Like, I feel like if Twilight movies, like, kept going another couple of years, the BO would have been less boffo.
You're probably right.
Know what I'm saying?
It's a trend. It's a fad. So if they wait too long, no one's going to care.
But we're like Harry Potter.
Yeah, exactly.
They knew they had longevity.
Staying power. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They could run those movies over like 10, 12 years. And they knew there was going to be an audience. They knew when the movies ended, there was probably going to be a hunger for more shit from that universe. Whereas Twilight, they were like, let's get in and let's get out.
Yeah, that's a really good theory, because it's the same as like Hunger Games and Twilight. Those series have completely lost their like shine for young adult fiction. Like, nobody's checking those books out of the library anymore. Like, Harry Potter still is
I
very
believe Hunger
popular.
Games could make a comeback. Like,
it's not. I mean, maybe it will, but it's not right now.
No. But I think like that world is well developed enough that like, I know they're working on some kind of some movie that takes place in the Hunger Games universe. And
is it based on that new book that came out?
I have no idea, but I'd be interested to watch it anyway. Whereas like Twilight, I don't know. They like Stephanie Meyer recently put out a book called Midnight. What was it called? Midnight Sun?
Midnight Sun. Yeah. Midnight Sun.
Which is basically just the Twilight series from Edward's perspective. And I would have less than zero interest in watching a movie adaptation of that.
Yeah, she doesn't have a lot of ideas. I think she got her.
Yeah.
She got
How
her
dare
one
you?
idea.
They made that Saoirse Ronan movie, the Host. Did you see that?
No, but I know what you're speaking of. Yes.
Yeah. God damn it. Right before this podcast, I took a seltzer out of my fucking fridge. I just found it. Okay, everything's okay, guys.
All right. Good. Oh, all right.
All right. I needed your help for a second.
That'd be a seltzer emergency, man.
It was. All right, so we have a new director because Catherine Hardwicke needed more time, okay?
Who wouldn't? Yeah.
This new director is a fella by the name of Chris Weitz. He's a longtime franchise regular. We covered him. He directed American Pie with his brother Paul Weitz. They were a team at the time. They also did Down to Earth with Chris Rock together and About a Boy with Hugh Grant together.
None of which I've seen except for his latest film, Operation Finale, with Ben Kingsley and Oscar Isaac.
Well, you, Henry, couldn't miss that one because it has Nazis in it, and as we know, Henry loves Nazis.
It's about capturing Eichmann in Argentina.
I just know that there's a swastika on the cover, which means I skipped it.
You saw it and you were like, this is a pro-Nazi film, not for me.
Yeah. So basically, this fella had a real opportunity with The Golden Compass, which is based on another YA series, like right before New Moon, and that tanked real bad. And so he was like, fine, I'll make your fucking Twilight movie in like 3 months for no money. And so they let him make it. He created a masterpiece, obviously. And so for his next film, they let him make more of a passion project, and that got nominated for Oscars. So this guy's got it good now. He can make little small movies. Remember that movie?
I'm sorry, what's his passion project?
A Better Life was that film where Demian Bichir got nominated for Best Actor for that.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what
I've seen that. That's that one about the immigrants, right?
Yeah, I bet it is.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the Golden Compass, and I've seen A Better Life. So
wow, look at you, a big Chris Weitz head.
Look at that. Not one person on Letterboxd has reviewed it that I follow or follows me. That's a little surprising for such a high-profile film.
A Better Life?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
it's
I
weird.
saw it.
What do you give it out of 5, Martha?
It was good. I don't remember it super well, but I remember seeing it.
Okay, well, what does it feel like in your head? A 4?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, great. Important segment.
I can update my Letterboxd in a minute here.
Great.
Do we not follow each other on there, Martha?
I don't really use it, so
okay.
I use it when I go on the franchise, and then sometimes when my roommate tells me to.
We've had her on We Love Kids movies a couple times behind the paywall, Henry.
Oh.
Not that you'd know.
She even has her own spin-off show, Penguins with Martha and Tim, which I was the first guest of.
Highly reviewed.
Yeah. What did we cover for that?
Mr. Popper's Penguins.
Of course, Mr. Popper's Penguins with Jim Carrey. So pony up that $5 and check out patreon.com/the franchise. Henry, what are you doing over there?
I'm looking at the Letterboxd, Twilight New Moon.
All right. Well, Melissa Rosenberg is back to write. She's still cranking these babies out, just transcribing that great book. And it came out November 20th, 2009, Henry, on a budget of $50 million. But it was Bafo B.O. City, 712, all right? Number 4 movie at the box office for 2009. What a hit. Can either of you guess the top 3? What beat it?
For 2009?
Yeah.
Or for that week?
No, for 2009.
Okay. The Dark Knight?
That's 8.
No.
That's 08.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Henry's thinking. I see it.
Wall-E.
That's 07. I think you're going backwards. No, I think that's still 08.
07.
Yeah, you're right. Ratatouille's 07.
Inglourious Bastards?
Get out of here. Come on, think about franchises.
One of the Harry Potters, obviously.
Boom! How did you not get
Prince.
that? Yes, Half-Blood Prince.
Half-Blood Prince.
Henry's favorite Harry Potter movie, The Half-Blood Prince, was the number 3 movie of that year. All right?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Got nothing else.
Number 2 was Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. All right? And then number 1, of course, and still the number 1 movie of all time, Avatar.
Oh, of course. That's 2009.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Yeah, always forget about that. Always forget about that one.
Well, you've been saving it for when we cover it on the franchise, but then every year James Cameron postpones the sequel, so we can't cover it.
December 2022.
It's happening.
Yeah, now it's December 2022. We'll see. We'll see in a fucking year. Well, although I heard he said they're done filming, so I don't know what the fuck he's dicking around with. I guess IMAX 3D effects or some bullshit.
Yeah, of course.
All right. What a hit. 9th biggest opening weekend of all time. How about that stat?
Wow. Good God.
Mm-hmm. It was number 1 at the time, but now it's number 9.
Jesus Christ.
Couple of HP movies ahead of them.
I was going to say, I read that fun fact that Deathly Hallows Part 1 edged it out at one point.
That's right. This film, of course, nominated for many awards, which it deserves, every one of them. And, Henry, are you ready with some great themes?
I believe they're cued.
All right, how about the Saturn Awards?
Oh, we're going there first, huh?
Yeah,
all
we
right.
have been
Here
lately.
we go. Here we go.
Saturn is between Uranus and Neptune. Saturn walls, sci-fi blessed films.
Yeah, classy theme as ever.
Thanks.
You don't realize how puerile we are until we have another person present.
I didn't say anything.
But I realize it. I realize it. All right.
Not concerned.
That's okay. Saturn Awards nominated this baby for the best horror/thriller film of the year.
Horror?
Well, I guess it's a thriller.
Oh, it's so
Very
scary.
scary.
It thrills
Oh
me.
my God.
It lost to Drag Me to Hell, the great Sam Raimi film.
Ah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Taylor Lautner was recognized for his work as Best Younger Actor under 18.
Sure,
All right.
yeah.
And he lost to Saoirse Ronan for The Lovely Bones.
Oh my.
All right?
How old is he in this? He's under 18?
I guess he was 17 when they filmed it, you know?
Okay.
Martha, was this a crush of yours? Did you want to give him a lovely bone when you were younger?
Yeah, I thought, I thought he was hotter than Edward. I just never really, I was very anti both of them though, so I never really let myself think about it.
I do think
So
that
that
to a teen, I think like Taylor Lautner's the more accessible look, you know?
Yeah, I think so.
He's hardcore, man. I think you got to get to college before you're like, I think I'm dangerous enough now to fuck that guy.
Yeah, that's probably true. I think also Edward looks so unnatural in these movies, like especially I feel like it gets more and more pronounced, like the way his eyes are, and then his accent is very like strange too.
Well,
so
that's what I like to call bad acting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's my explanation for that part.
You could explain it away. He lived in another era, so that's how they talked back then.
Well, that's how when I was younger. That's how we always explained David Boreanaz's terrible Irish accent in the flashbacks on Buffy, because he was originally from Dublin in the 1700s.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like, Robert Pattinson just looks very not human because he's a vampire in these movies, whereas Taylor Lautner, as a human, still looks human.
But he's always shirtless. It just always bothers me when people are shirtless. Like, wear clothes. Shirts are nice.
Edward too.
I'm with him. I'm totally with him. If you're outside... Yep. Like, if you've just, like, exerted yourself, fine, take off your shirt, I don't care. But, like, this motherfucker is just constantly shirtless. There's a scene at the end
He's really warm. As we see this in Eclipse, he has really high body temperature.
Oh, that's true. He's his own son.
Yeah. Yeah. All the wolves, the wolf pack, they're all going shirtless all the time, and it reminds me a bit of is it because they're ready to transform? They don't want to be like the Incredible Hulk. Is this their version of the purple pants? Is this what they just want to have the shorts on?
Do you think they load up on like Target, like shitty Target denim pants? Just they need a lot of them because they're constantly turning into wolves.
I think that's what's going on here, and just to save money, because none of them are rich in this movie, that they just want to go, but it's a little distracting.
Is that what happens to the pants when they transform? Do the pants get destroyed or something?
I would imagine, unless unless there's
but
tiny
they
pants.
must be going into the woods and retrieving the pants every time.
No,
because fucking the sheriff is searching for them in the second one.
Leave no trace. I think the pants transform with them. They're under the.
That's insane.
They're like under the fur. I don't know.
Under the skin. Okay.
The fur grows over the pants.
Well, what? So when they transform back, they're naked? I don't think so.
Yes, absolutely they are.
No, when they transform back, they're wearing their pants again. So they didn't go back into the woods to get the pants.
I think they have maybe like bird feeders in throughout the woods that they're hiding pants in.
Yeah.
No, my theory's better than that.
Up on branches, they grab them. Now, do we see on camera a full de-transformation?
I don't think we do.
Right.
No, we do, and they're wearing pants when they come back from being
Is that true? Is that in real life, or is that in a Bella dream?
I didn't know I was going to have to write that down, but I'm pretty sure we see that happen.
I can't believe it.
All right.
All right, let's move on to the next award voting body, Henry. Of course, the kids.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's go on to that. Here we go. All right.
It's the Kids' Choice Awards. It's KCA to you, but it's the kids making the choice, yeah.
Yeah. The KCAs, here they are. Now, I noticed they don't vote. The people and the kids are more silent on the Twilight franchise than I was expecting. Yeah. Of course, the teens have a lot to say.
Obviously, they always do.
Mm-hmm. But the kids did nominate for a few things. It was nominated for Best Movie this year at the Kids' Choice Awards, but it lost to Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel.
The Squeakquel.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, that's cute.
It's maybe the best franchise title ever.
Is that the one where David Cross is?
Yeah, I think he's also in all of them, like The Road Chip. What was the other one? Chipwrecked?
You got me.
Sounds like you know it pretty well.
I think I do. Know. I've never seen any of them, but I'd like to. I know Jason Lee plays Dave.
Oh, it's Jason Lee. That's right. Yeah.
All right,
I was a fan.
Stan's actor when they make a movie of his life, Jason Lee.
That's what you say. Not anymore. Maybe once. Taylor Lautner was nominated for the Best Actor. Oh, he actually won. Taylor Lautner walked home with a Kids' Choice Award for Best Actor for Twilight New Moon.
They're kids, sure.
They love. Yeah.
He was a kid himself, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The kids were confused by the feelings he arose in them. Yeah. All right. Jacob and Bella. This is an interesting one that I loved. Jacob and Bella won an award for the cutest couple of the year.
Oh, they're cute. Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
Jacob and Bella?
Jacob and Bella. Yeah, but what about that scene in the car with the sun thing? That was cute.
There's very little in these movies I would describe as cute.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, but I think that was.
Cute.
But listen to this. Listen to who they beat for the cutest couple award, because Edward and Bella were also nominated.
No.
Yeah. But more importantly, so were Barack and Michelle Obama.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's right. And Taylor and Bella beat them.
What were they in? What, like,
Just
what
the White
film were
House,
they in?
just for being elected that year. Yeah.
They were known for being in the White House.
Mhm.
Okay. The kids. Not
They were
popular
at
with
the
kids, I guess.
inauguration.
Yeah,
film.
they were one of the cutest couples in America that year, but not as cute as Bella and Jacob.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Now the
Chaotic
MTV
Kids' Choice Awards.
Very chaotic. The MTV voting body also voted, Henry.
I imagine they would. I want my MTV.
Classic stuff. Won best movie. I'm telling you, the MTV awards were all over these fucking Twilight movies.
Yeah, they like.
Did you watch these fucking things during this time, Martha?
No, I did not.
I was telling Henry last week, I tuned into one MTV award during these years, and it was the whole thing was Twilight. They brought out the three of them to present the trailer to the next movie, and then they all won, like, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Movie, all of them.
Was Taylor Lautner shirtless at the awards?
I'm sure he was. He must have been.
Great.
He was probably there with Swift at the time, too.
Oh, that's
Remember
right,
they were
yeah.
dating? Taylor Lautner has this weird thing where he only fucks women with the same first name as him.
Thing.
That's a real thing, Henry. He's currently engaged to another one.
Taylor Dane.
Yes, he's engaged to Taylor Dane. Hilarious. All right. It won Best Movie this year, of course. Pattinson beat Lautner for Best Actor, which I actually found a little surprising because this is a much more Lautner-heavy film.
That it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Kay Stu won Best Actress, and the movie won Best Kiss. All right.
For Bella and Jacob?
I didn't look it up. Leave me alone.
All right.
All right. The Razzies. How about that? The Razzies also had something to say about this. They didn't like the film. They thought it deserved to be recognized for its badness, its poor quality.
Well, it's probably not bad.
I thought all that yammering. Okay.
Berries, no razzmatazz, all we're lacking is a little pizzazz, cause it's the golden raspberries, it's the worst of the worst, not the best of the best, it's pizzazz gone raz.
What a classic.
Yeah.
What did you think of that one, Martha?
These just get better and better.
I agree, frankly.
I don't detect sincerity in Martha's voice. There.
No, I said what I said.
Like I said. Yeah.
Okay, Robert Pattinson. They had the gall to nominate this fine actor as the worst supporting actor of the year. He did not win that dishonor. It went to Billy Ray Cyrus for the Hannah Montana movie.
Oh, sure,
Right?
sure.
Which I think is ridiculous. Billy Ray Cyrus, one of our greatest auteurs and one of our greatest thespians.
No national treasure.
Is he? Oh, well, that's Nick Cage, right?
Right, yeah, we covered that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
with Martha, you were on for that. That's
Yeah,
right.
That's why I said it. That's why I said it. I was waiting
pretty sure
for
that
real.
was the reference. I just was like, what? I mean, it's not the right year, is it?
Remember how into Justin Bartha she was?
Yes, I do. Very much.
There's no was about it, Daniel.
No was about it, man. Wait,
Yeah.
Isn't he in something new? No, that's not true. I'm sorry. I just read a piece about National Treasure. They were talking about him.
National Treasure 3, yeah.
Yeah. All right. It's worst screen couple. They were nominated for that. And it was either one. That was the choice. Either Bella and Edward or Bella and Jacob. But they both lost to Sandra Bullock and Bradley Cooper in the film All About Steve.
Aw, yeah. Sandy B's missteps.
Have you seen that one, Henry?
Not yet.
Never heard of it.
Like me, do you skip movies when Sandra Bullock is blonde because you know they'll be bad?
Two if by sea, right? She's blonde in that, isn't she?
That's another one, yeah, for sure. Now, what do we have? Worst franchise movie. So that's interesting to us. It lost to The Land of the Lost. The Will Ferrell.
Huh. Oh, I thought people liked that.
No,
movie.
it was terrible. I saw it in theaters. It was a horror.
No, I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't see it.
And worst screenplay, it lost to the Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. There you go.
All right.
All right, let's move on to our final award voting body, Henry, the teens.
Okay.
It's the choice award.
Now, Martha was a teen during the making of these films. Did you happen to vote for these awards?
I was 13, so barely. No, I did not. I didn't know that was an option.
Of course it was. You logged on to like teenchoiceawards.com or something. Or...
I don't think that had hit Montana at that point.
Websites?
A few hours behind.
The dial-up connection wasn't allowing for that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a shame. Let's see. Would you have voted for Twilight New Moon to win the best fantasy film of the year? Because it won.
I would not have.
All right. Taylor Lautner nominated for Best Fantasy Actor, and he won, beating Robert Pattinson. How about that?
Wow.
I mean, this is his movie. Like you guys said, this is the Jacob movie, so...
Yeah, and I'm surprised it's my favorite, because like you, I'm Team Edward. Well, no, I'm Team Edward more than I'm Team Jacob.
Right.
I'm Team Mike Newton.
Yes.
I heard you that time, yeah.
Yeah. Kristen Stewart won Best Fantasy Actress, of course. Rachel Lefevre won Best Villain. All right? Ashley Greene was... They had 3 nominees for Best Female Scene Stealer. There were like 4 nominees total, and 3 of them were from this movie.
Okay.
The winner was Ashley Greene, beating Dakota Fanning and Anna Kendrick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you feel that she sufficiently stole scenes?
That's Alice.
Yeah, that's Alice, the sister.
Thought it was a great line when she was like, I've already seen you open your present. You love it.
I loved that line, too.
Her scene stealer.
I want there to be more of that. It reminded me of, there's like a character in Team America who can see the future, and she says shit like that. It was almost like a joke from that movie.
It probably was, so... Probably.
Oh, all right. It also won some shit. Best Chemistry and Best Lip Lock at the Teen Choice Awards. All right. They loved it, the teens. It came in again at number 4 at the box office. Can you guess what the top 3... Oh, we did that shit already. I already played that
Avatar,
game with you, man.
Half-Blood Prince.
You can't remember?
Transformers.
Very good, very good. Okay.
Good call, Martha. How'd you know?
I'm really good at this stuff.
Okay, so let's talk about the beginning of Twilight New Moon. And I will say, it is just on point from the very beginning to the very end. So it starts with a dream sequence, as Martha alluded to.
It's a great dream sequence.
Yeah. Now, Bella dreams that she's in a field, as she often is. And Edward is there, and so is an old lady. And then she goes to introduce the old lady to Edward.
She's like Graham.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then they start mirroring each other's movements, and Bella realizes the old lady is in fact her.
It's her.
And
what
I think this means is it's a reflection of her anxiety about aging as a human, while her boyfriend, Edward Cullen, is an immortal vampire.
Yeah. I think that's...
Yeah.
Is that a good read?
Go ahead.
I don't think that's just your interpretation. I think that's what we're supposed to get from it.
I think that that is I think it's a very insightful take on the matter. I felt the same way. I could tell that, immortality was being discussed in that sequence without speaking.
It's on her mind.
It's all visual.
Yeah, she makes a big deal about turning 18, and she's like, I've become so much older, and then she freaks out when her dad suggests that he sees gray hairs, and
I love that moment.
That's right.
Yeah, when Edward says happy birthday, and she's like, I don't want to celebrate my aging.
Because Edward was bitten when he was 17, so now like every day she grows older. She's growing older than Ed. I like when she says, "I'm not into the whole cougar thing."
Yeah, I know. You know, that whole thing is a bit of a quandary in itself, because if, you know, she's very, the only thing I would imagine that would want her to get this change done rapidly would be that her life is in danger. Not the fact that she's growing older than him by, you know, months or a year. I was even thinking, if there wasn't this imminent life-threatening danger to her, you could wait till she's like 23.
No, you don't want to wait too long, because, like, in the movie, we're supposed to think he looks underage. You know, like he's in high school. But so, like, you don't want her to, like, grow old enough where it looks creepy for them to hang out. And, no, like, if I saw, like, a 23-year-old girl hanging out with a high school boy, like, I'd think that was weird.
Yes, but, I mean, they could wait a couple of years. This Pattinson's got the big burns going on. He doesn't look like no 17-year-old.
I'm with Stuart. Just fucking do it already. What's the heffing and jeffing about? The faffing about?
I agree with you if they're eventually going to do it, because then it gets ridiculous, where she's like, then she becomes the one where he's like, "I'll do it if you marry me," and then she's like, "But I don't want to marry because I'm only 18." It's like, well, just fucking marry him. You get to be a vampire. Jesus.
Yeah, Bella's the worst, and I don't know why we can't agree on that, because Bella's just like, she waffles on everything, she complains about everything, she's just whiny about everything. No,
Bella's great. But
I don't know. I think Martha might be onto something.
No, but the thing is, if you want your boyfriend to kill you and make you an immortal being, then you should be old enough and responsible enough to feel comfortable telling your dad that you're engaged. Right?
So you do think she should wait?
No, I think that she should grow some fucking balls and take control of her life.
Oh, that's what apparently is going to happen at the end of Eclipse. No spoilers.
Well, we hope.
They set a date, and Alice is going to plan the whole thing.
They set a date.
Very exciting.
What was it? It was like, it was surprisingly close.
August 28th, I think.
Maybe. That sounds right.
It was August something.
All right. So let's talk about it. She is starting her senior year at the beginning of this movie. It's the first day of school, and it's her birthday. So many great milestones in Bella's life. And she goes to school with Edward, but who's there lurking about as per usual but fucking Jacob. And he's got a different look, baby. He looks nice and big, nice and built, sweaty, manly, wolfy. All right? The first thing Bella says when she sees him, "Hello, biceps."
Yeah,
can I tell you
something that friends say to each other.
Yeah, I say that to Dan all the time. Here's the thing. I didn't notice one single difference between what he looked like in the first movie. They look exactly the same. I didn't.
They made the mistake,
like wanting to tell us that we're supposed to see him as a love interest now.
They made the mistake of having him wear a long sleeve shirt in that scene. Yeah, that was so stupid. It's literally the only time he's wearing a long sleeve shirt in the entire fucking movie, and they did it in the big reveal scene, and it's a problem. It was bad. That's poor directing from Mr. Weitz there.
Yeah, because I was like, well, this fucking kid, I've only ever seen him look like a roided out fucking, so
no,
what
he's skinny in the first movie.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't recall him being a threadbare, skinny guy in the first movie. I don't think that's true.
He's pretty skinny, and he's got that long hair. The real transformation is when he cuts his hair.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like,
that's what they should have done. Cut his hair over the summer.
Right. We don't see the transformation until, because he's supposed to be like, oh, all of a sudden he's not the little kid, like the kid brother that he was in the last movie. We're supposed to see him, like, as this, like, viable love interest now. So either do the full transformation now or wait until, like, don't have Bella make a comment about his biceps until he's made the transformation later in the movie.
I agree. I fully agree. In hindsight, I think they should have done the latter. I think he should have just still been regular dude with the long sleeve shirt. So they couldn't comment on it. And then, like, later in the movie, she fucking sees this guy shirtless. She sees him hairless, not a hair on this body, and also tatted up. Yeah, right? So he's a little more dangerous
and, like,
now.
When she sees him when Edward is gone, like, she's going through this, like, dark stage in her life. Like, I feel like that's gonna be like she's seeing the light when she sees him.
That's right.
Yeah.
Shining amidst the
Taylor Lautner just has one of those faces that, I don't know, I just want to, like, punch it or something.
Yeah, I get it. Listen, let's just spill the beans right here about Taylor Lautner. I think maybe the biggest problem with this entire franchise is that Taylor Lautner is one of the worst actors that's ever found himself in a mainstream film.
Yeah, he's not good.
He's like, it's not good, Martha. It's something greater and more impressive than that.
Yeah, it is more impressive.
It does help him that he's handsome. Like, I think when he's, like, his thing is he smiles, and it's like, oh, he's won the scene. Like, and I feel like that's all he does.
I do think that the visual is good. Like, he looks like a Jacob. Like, if this Adonis could act, then he's perfect casting. But it just seems so crazy to me that they, like, considered not bringing him back for New Moon because he, like, wasn't all built and shit. And they were like, we want to hire an actor who's like
who can act.
No, but, like, they said who has a six-pack and shit. And so then he, like, got a six-pack and was like, can I be in the movie? And they were like, fine. But I don't understand why the conversation never turned to the fact that he can't act.
Well, you know, consider the dialogue that's being exchanged within the characters.
Well, I mean, it's not like he's acting in a really stellar cast. Like, he's not surrounded by really good actors himself. So,
well, I think that at least amongst the core cast, like Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson, since this film, have both shown themselves to be accomplished actors. You know, my opinion on them is one thing, but, like, they're both still working in well-respected films, whereas Taylor Lautner is just nobody.
And I actually think, and I don't see this often, nor do I say it, but I actually think you can kind of see Pattinson become a little bit better of an actor by the time Eclipse
I don't see it.
Yeah. No, I get it, but I just feel like he's a little bit. I think I wanted to say something too, because you said Lautner is like basically the biggest baseline issue with this whole endeavor.
I think everything would be more watchable with a better Jacob.
And it hit me in the third one, Eclipse, Twilight Eclipse.
The Twilight Saga :
The Twilight
Eclipse.
Saga, yeah.
Eclipse is the movie, the film I'm referring to. Is that it didn't occur to me before. These movies lack something entirely. They are totally and completely devoid of humor. And that
I disagree.
Well, we've mentioned some hilarious lines already today in this podcast.
I am obviously, as you two Dr. Sardonicus know, I'm speaking of intentional humor.
There's intentional
go
humor.
ahead. I do have a comeback for this, but go ahead.
And I just, that kind of hit me, like, I guess, like in the third one, I was like, boy, these movies really just don't, they're not, there's no jokes. Like, there's no, like.
They're very dour.
So between that and I think the big Achilles heel is always the sequences between solo sequences, well, not solo, duo sequence between the Bella and Jacob or Bella and Edward. Every time those characters have dialogue where they are totally alone speaking, I feel like the movie grinds to a halt.
So and is your issue Bella?
No, I think it's like the supporting cast. Whenever like the Cullens are around as a group, I'm like much more interested. I'm like, oh, that's a good group.
But that's not because it's not because they're better characters, Henry. It's just because there's so many of them that there's a lot going on. You can like check in, like, oh yeah, what's going on with Nikki Reed or whatever.
But the dialogue that is between the romantic leads is so fucking bad.
It's very self-serious.
Yes, it's a relief when you check out of that for a moment and just get some tertiary.
Martha or retort?
Well, I think the core of what Henry's saying is definitely true. I think what we're missing though is that I think the first two movies, especially the first movie, has scenes that are intentionally humorous, and they're like changed from the books too, because the books are completely devoid of humor. That's the problem with they're really horribly written. There's just a lot of problems with the books, but they're also like, there's no intentional humor. But the baseball scene and the scene where Bella's birthday, or not Bella's birthday, but when Bella comes over for dinner at the Cullens, like those are intentionally humorous scenes in the first movie. And then we have all the scenes with the like non-supernatural friends, like Mike and Jessica, like Anna Kendrick, those added scenes, like they're not added scenes, but those scenes do have the humor. And I feel like it's like camp humor too. Like I do love the scenes that we have with those groups. So that's what I love, honestly, about the first movie, which is my favorite. Like it has some really, really funny scenes, and they are, I think, it's camp because we're like making fun of them a little bit, but it also, I think, is intentional in a way. But I agree, like the dialogue between the romantic leads definitely never.
Yeah,
there's
right.
No sparks there.
You're right on that. What I guess I'm talking about is less scenes with humor and more things like throwaway one-liners. Like when Edward actually says, you said it earlier, and you guys are laughing about it, and it's true. But when Edward says to Bella, like when they see Jacob in the street, and he's just like, does that guy own a shirt? Like more of that kind of stuff would make this entirely different. Like more Charlie lines, more throwaway dialogue like that.
I do think that Twilight was a turning point for this country in that we take me seriously here for a second. Twilight was the first time there was something really fucking shitty, and we all just agreed to pretend it was good. You know, like, because we didn't want the fucking kids to be pissed off at us. They didn't want to, all the fans on the internet were so obnoxious. And like, so we gave it the MTV Movie Award for Best Movie. Where it's good, fine, it's good. And I just mean the country at large.
I don't know who this we is.
The royal we.
At the time, so we're not talking about me.
No, I guess, yeah, us adults. Adults decided to just let Twilight be a good thing, even though it was bad. And I think that was a negative thing for this country. And we're doing it all the time now.
Yeah.
You really think that never happened before? This was really the first time that ever happened?
I think the cream rose to the top until this point. Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, what can you think of that was, like, directed at kids? Think about, like, Pokemon. Think about how huge Pokemon is. But, like, it wasn't ever, like, we were never like, yeah, Pokemon's great. It is. We agree. It's great.
Well, I mean, yeah. Are you saying Pokemon has, the reaction to it has changed now?
No, I think, like, if Pokemon came out today, like, America would like, adults would agree, like, would take it seriously as a piece of art.
What kid stuff that's coming out now are adults taking seriously?
Everything. Every bullshit thing. Marvel.
I think you're pretty right on that one.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I just have to think about it and letting it marinate.
There you go. All right, so Robert Pattinson, Edward and Bella, they are in Shakespeare class. learning about Romeo and Juliet. Lots of foreshadowing for the film, because this film is itself a take on Romeo and Juliet, and I think holds its own with that William Shakespeare classic.
I think you're right. I was reading a bit about Stephenie Meyer, not to cut off your thought, because I did want to hear your classroom scene digression. I was reading about Stephenie Meyer.
It's the next scene.
Yeah, wrong word. Discussion, monologue. Yes, I was reading about Stephenie Meyer. She's quite a fascinating lady. She reading. She did go to Brigham Young. She did identify deeply with the works of Shakespeare. That made an impact on her. That's not a joke.
She's never finished a Shakespeare play. I guarantee.
I agree. I just, boy, what an interesting woman. What an interesting woman. She's from Connecticut. I didn't know that. I wouldn't have guessed that.
A real blue blood.
Blue blood, Connecticut. Finds herself raised Mormon, goes to Brigham Young, and then incorporates. And now, remember last week, key point I wanted to bring up to you, Dan. You told me to watch this time for the Mormonisms in these movies.
Oh, yeah.
I said last week how I couldn't get.
Bella is so fucking Mormon. It's disgusting.
Right.
It's all there.
Well, they all are. Really?
Yeah,
I mean,
they're all
everybody.
terrified of sex.
Yeah.
What happens? Like, at one point in this movie, like, Bella's like, "Kiss me" to Edward. Like, that's a big deal. I'm like, what? You haven't been kissing all summer?
I don't know. Maybe Martha can weigh in on this. I know she's a fan of the novellas, the Twilight novellas.
They're not novellas, full-on novels.
I am not. I've only read the
4 chapters. She got through 4 chapters.
Yeah, I thought she said I got through all 4 books twice.
Oh my God.
You know what's interesting is that these vampire type movies, they always make a thing about the sexual endeavors of their characters, and like this one reminds me of, like, so in this mythology of the Stephenie Meyer world, so you cannot have intercourse because you get too excited and you
with a human. Yeah,
it's a huge risk. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have sex with a human.
Haven't we established that Edward can control himself around her pretty well? I mean,
no, we haven't established that.
Yeah, but he's never smelled the sweet taste of her pussy, baby. He's gonna go crazy. He's gonna impale her.
That he can't control himself around her. So, I mean.
Okay, so they can't fuck a human.
And I'm pretty sure they're all in monogamous relationships.
It does seem that way.
Yeah.
It does seem that way. However, right. That's how fucking Mormon this is. Because I think that's
goes all the way down.
Yeah, baby. I think that's her substitution for them having multiple wives, is for them just to be intermingling and commingling with their foster sons. That's her Mormon, little sneaky Mormon stuff going on there.
Yeah, it's like when you watch Tom Cruise movies and look for the Scientology.
Yeah. It's there. Yeah.
All right. What happens? Oh, right. They're in class. We get a lot of exposition in this scene. That's why I brought it up. Robert Pattinson says that he does not have the ability to kill himself, and he wishes he did, frankly. Which is a great thing to tell your girlfriend. And
these early movies especially are just so emo. Like this whole movie with the sequence we're coming up to of the passage of time, like, and the soundtrack, just
the
like
soundtrack. I know.
See.
Yeah, why is that Death Cab for Cutie song not in this movie? Because one of the only things I remember about this movie is that Death Cab for Cutie wrote one of their worst ever songs called "Meet Me on the Equinox." For this film, it was, I think, track 1 on the soundtrack. It was released as a single, and I didn't hear it a single fucking time in this movie.
I think it's the credits.
No, I stayed for the credits.
It's not?
It's not.
It sounded like his voice. But
well, you guys talk shit all you want. I'm still digging the soundtracks of these movies.
Hey, I am.
Oh no, I'm not talking shit on the soundtrack. Like I loved this kind of shit when I was in middle school, especially. So I kind of wish I had not been like a snob about it, because I think I would have been all over it.
Well, I feel that way about
Harry Potter.
so much that was popular when I was a kid, man. I was a snob about everything. Like, I was always like, the fucking Backstreet Boys, that's not art. Like, why couldn't I just enjoy the Backstreet Boys? The fuck? All right. So he says that there was a period of time during the last movie where he thought he might never see Bella again. So he thought about ways that he could kill himself because he knew he wouldn't be able to take that. And the way he landed on was that he would go see the Volturi. And Kristen Stewart rightly is like, what the fuck are you talking about? What's that?
Great name.
Yeah, I actually thought it was kind of a cool name.
You know.
I'm going to give her this one.
Can one of the... All right, fine. Fair pass on the Volturi. But, I mean, can one of these fucking authors come up with something that isn't just derivative of a million other fucking things?
What's it derivative of? Maybe I don't know.
It's just...
Vultures.
Voltron.
No, it just sounds like one of those skull and bones fucking things. You know, everything is like I don't know.
When you add Uri on the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's Latinize it, and it'll fucking sound ominous. You know. I don't know.
They live in Volterra, Tuscany, so it's really
Good
creative name
God.
to go from Volterra to Volturi.
Good Lord.
Oh, yeah, Volterra. Yeah, you know, I thought they were in the fucking Vatican at first. Because at the beginning of the movie...
It does look like that.
Yeah, in her dream sequence, she pictures herself in Volterra. And I was like, what is Bella doing in the Vatican? But
yeah, well,
Mormon. Why would she be?
Great point, yeah. She'd be in Utah.
Cult's a cult, you know.
Oh, boy. Well, the Volturi are a great cult. They're sort of the vampire royalty.
They're great, yeah.
I guess Michael Sheen is kind of the Prince Harry. Yeah. And Dakota Fanning is Meghan Markle.
What is Michael Sheen doing in this movie?
Tearing it up and being the best part of the entire franchise.
He's like barely there. That's what's crazy. Like,
but he shows up for 20.
Such a tiny role.
He shows up for 20 minutes in this movie and is the clear MVP of it.
It's that long. I feel like it's like 7 minutes.
No, it's longer than that. You disagree?
Yeah, and I like Michael Sheen, but you know what the fuck? I mean,
I totally disagree. I think he's great. Arrow, put him in every movie.
And he's just doing the whole fucking, you know, hello and welcome to the Volturi and Bella's the human. What type of touch does this human behold on
I'm
you?
I'm waiting for a negative here.
You dug it all, huh? You dug the shit. All right.
I absolutely dug it. I thought you would too, and I'm shocked and disappointed.
You put Charlie Sheen in that role, I'm all in.
Hey, listen, you know I would prefer Charlie Sheen in almost any role. You know, Charlie Sheen actually would have been a great Bella's dad.
Yeah, I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so it's time for Bella's birthday party. Let's talk about it. It's at the Cullens. Everybody's there with some cake, and, you know... The whole crew, they're all standing around with their contacts in, and Bella gets a present, tries to open it, fucks it up because she's Bella, she can't do anything right, and she gets a paper cut, and all fucking hell breaks loose.
Humorous scene. Like, how could you not laugh at that?
I love this scene. It's one of my favorites.
It's a paper cut and Jasper attacks.
Jasper loses his fucking mind, and he's totally focused on it for like the rest of time. Even in Eclipse, when Bella asks Jasper, like, "You think I should be a vampire?" and he's like, "Yeah, I'd love to not want to fucking bite your little finger off."
Well, it's the same thing. I mean, it's like what happened in the first movie with like once James tasted her blood or whatever. I don't even know the whatever the technical.
Cam Gigandet.
Yeah, so it's like once Jasper has like smelled her specific blood, he like can't rest until he's had it, right? Like, isn't that how it works?
Yeah.
Well, no, what it was he mistook her for a fugitive slave, and he thought he needed to take north because he was still fighting the war.
Yeah.
Let's save that for Eclipse.
I wanted to be Team Jasper for a while. I guess I'll save it. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, we get flashbacks to some of these guys, and that one was shocking.
I hate American authors who try to write about this stuff. This happens all the time on this show, Dan.
I never noticed it until you pointed it out, man.
Can one fucking Civil War story be about a Union guy? Jesus Christ, we love the Confederate.
They think it adds shades to the character, but it just makes them basically a Nazi.
Especially when it's not a character that we actually get to know much more beyond that. Like, if it was adding shades to a character that was already super well developed, then maybe, but this is like all we get from him.
All right, so you know things are about to get sad because a Bon Iver song pipes up on the soundtrack. I was impressed that they got him 1 year before his collaboration with Kanye. And the Cullens are going to have to leave Forks forever because Carlisle is 10 years older than he should be, and people are starting to notice.
That was funny to me. I would have, it would have been nice. Would have been nice to see a diner scene with Carlisle kind of chilling out there with Charlie or somebody in the diner town and just talking and all the folk turning around and looking at Carlisle and murmuring,
Why does he have to be so handsome? Like if Carlisle just gained like 15 pounds or like grew his hair out or like there are ways to make yourself seem older. Grow some facial hair.
You don't think you can as a vampire?
Oh, you can't grow facial hair.
You don't think you can't grow facial hair? So like this, you're stuck with Edward. That's his look forever.
That's why Bella can't get any older. That's why she's so freaked out about it.
You know what? I'm starting to see Jacob's merits because Jacob already has shown his ability to completely transform his look, and that's going to come in handy in eternity. All right.
Carlisle, I guess he can't grow. You can't change any part of your appearance, which would really be a bummer. But you'd think they could apply some makeup.
They can't dye his hair or wear contacts.
Dye his hair. That is very true.
Yeah.
Add some wrinkle. Rick Baker over there.
No, I'm not. You don't need to get Rick Baker over here. All right.
It's been around a while.
All right, so Bella's obviously very upset. So she just sort of goes off wandering into the woods and cries about it until she goes missing. And then a shirtless Native American named Sam carries her back. And Sam and Jacob seem to have some sort of a feud happening. So, we obviously get back into that. All right. Then it's the best part of any of these movies. I'm ready to talk about it. This is my number one favorite part of any Twilight movie. When I think of Twilight, when someone mentions Twilight, this is the first thing I think of. All right. A Licky Lee song starts playing, and a title card tells us that it is October. All right?
Yeah. Panorama.
Yeah, she's depressed in a chair, looking out the window. The camera all right. The camera circles her. It's now November. She's still there in the chair. All right? Yeah. You look outside, the trees are changing. Then it's December. She's still in the chair, so depressed. And it's snowing out. All right? Yeah. And my interpretation of this sequence is that she's so depressed that it's like nothing changes. Every day is the same for her during this time. Yeah. What do you think of that interpretation?
You're spot on with these interpretations, Daniel.
Thank you.
Yeah. How did you get that? I was really confused what they were trying to show here. So thank you for explaining.
That's what they were showing.
I think that it must have been incredibly time-consuming and difficult on Kristen Stewart to go full method and sit in that same chair for 90 solid days.
Did you know that in the books, this sequence is just 4 blank pages with the month on? Like, I'm not joking. Yeah. Tim showed it to me. I thought he was joking.
Are you kidding?
No, that's it. That's how it goes in the book.
It just says the month on
like
a page?
it's a blank page with like October, and then the next page is a blank page with November. That's how they show this passage of time in the book.
So what that is, that's the editor saying, you know what, Stephanie, we need it to be less than 5,000 words this time. She goes, all right, I won't describe the scene. I'll just put a blank page and a month on there.
No, I think it's very classic, a very interesting. Yeah, I give Stephanie Meyer full credit. Also, we get to see her really just wailing in bed. Like Kristen Stewart during this sequence is as unhinged as she is in any of these Twilight movies.
Yeah.
No,
she's having some nightmares. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she really takes a pretty dark turn, too. So she's spent the last 3 months wallowing, and then she just goes on this, like, death journey.
Yeah. With the bikers.
Yeah. But she won't have bad dreams for long because Jacob got her a dream catcher.
So, of course, the first thing I thought of was that awesome Stephen King movie.
Dreamcatcher, great film. I think... it's funny how every time a Native American person in a movie gives somebody else a gift, it's a dream catcher.
Always.
It reminds me of how every time in a movie an Irish person gives a gift, it's a colada ring.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. That's pretty good. They go to a movie with your boy Mike.
Okay, let's talk about it, baby. Mike Newton decides the Cullens are out of the picture. Let's make a play. And I'm like, brother, great timing. You're nailing this.
And I missed this whole thing in the movie because one sequence they're together, he's with Anna Kendrick, and then I hear her kind of bitching in the background while they're shopping. And she says, I'm having problems with Mike and blah, 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 blah. But I don't ever recall a breakup sequence.
There wasn't.
So, okay, thank you. So does this Mike just, what's he, just a two-time
He's stepping out, yeah.
I don't think he's stepping out. I think that these characters are uninteresting enough that we just didn't see them break up on screen.
He's a scumbag.
No.
He's not a... Fuck you! Mike Newton is the only good man in Forks.
Mike Newton sucks.
No, what?
He is not. He is definitely being slimy here. And I'm sorry, I forgot to. We just totally went past Bella. Where the hell have you been, Loca? So I just had to say that really quickly. We missed that line.
Well, we skipped the whole thing.
Line.
Yeah, before the movie, we can talk about like. The dad is like, hey, so, Bella, you haven't seen Jacob in a while, huh? And she's like, fine. So she goes to hang out with Jacob, and they build a motorcycle together, right? Because...
True motorcycles.
Yeah, because Bella had gotten on the back of that. There's one scene in this movie where Bella almost fucks an adult stranger.
She realizes that the way she can find Edward, or like the way she can feel Edward near her and like speak to him, is by putting herself at risk, like of death. And so, like the most risky situations, that's when Edward will speak to her.
I gotta be honest, I didn't even realize that's what was happening.
Yeah, he vaporizes anytime she's in danger. Anytime there's adrenaline.
Did you say he improvises?
Adrenaline, exactly.
Vaporizes.
Oh, vaporizes. Yeah. He does. As a ghost. There's a ghost Robert Pattinson in this movie.
Right. I think the best part of that motorcycle sequence is that at the end of the day, he's a motorcycle biker guy with a heart of gold, because when she gets uncomfortable on the ride, clearly he's returned her safely to her juncture. That's unspoken. She's terrified. He's like this awful person, and then all of a sudden... He gently returns her to the town square.
Oh, that's true. Like, she says, I want to get off. And he's just like, sure. And that's lucky. That's a nice perverted motorcycle man.
I think he also kind of realizes that she's like really unhinged too. I feel like he like realizes it's not worth it or something.
He's a motorcycle guy. Why would he be worried about that? I'd be more worried about the fact that she's fucking. She looks 16.
Well, he's definitely like raising his eyebrow. Like he's like, "Oh, she's weird." Like when she starts like, I don't even remember what she says.
To me, if you're a motorcycle, if you're an adult motorcycle guy and you pick up a random young girl on the street and she seems a little weird, I would think, great, that it'll be easier to fuck her.
Yeah.
All right, I can get into the heads of these motorcycle
This man's
guys.
built different, so
yeah,
she was lucky, I guess.
It's built like a Suzuki, not a Harley.
My favorite part of that sequence, of course, was when Kristen Stewart crashed on the motorcycle, and then it cut to her stunt double being thrown off of the motorcycle, and the stunt double looked about 250 pounds.
Did not notice that.
I didn't notice it at all. Oh, that's great.
I never noticed that shit. It was horrible.
That's a stunt double.
All right, so back at school, Mike Newton, of course, suggests the date. Great offer. Let's go see this great new rom-com. What is it? Love spelled backwards or something?
Love spelled backwards is love. Which Mike, this is such a clearly like, oh, that's the kind of movie that Jessica always wants to see with me. So I assume that you also want to see the same type of movie.
Fuck, that's what you do in high school, all right? I took a girl to see The Notebook in my senior year.
Not love spelled backwards is love, though.
I wish. That would have been a great move. I would have gotten laid.
Actually, we're dealing with a couple of unsavory cats here because we got Mike 2-time and Anna Kendrick. We got Bella 3-timing Jacob Edward with Mike. And we have Bella screwing over her best friend Anna by even going on a date with this guy.
No, here's the thing. Bella, I mean, I'm never going to be, like, vouching for Bella, but she kind of, like, doesn't actually think this is a date, right? Because she invites everybody to go with them.
Bella's doing a dicky thing here because Bella understands that Mike Newton thinks it's a date.
Yes.
But she tries to neutralize the date by inviting a group, but then only Jacob shows up.
Because she knows that he's trying to step out on her friend.
That's bullshit. That is spurious.
Oh.
No, she's like, you're not gonna cheat on Jessica like that. I'm gonna invite Jessica on our fake date.
Fucking nonsense, all right? So she says, we're not going to go see Love Spelled Backwards is Love. Let's go see this great action movie, Face Punch.
I love Face Punch.
I love Face Punch also. Did you happen to notice the catchphrase, the tagline on the poster?
No,
I did, but I forgot what it was.
Very simple. Let's do this.
Oh, hey.
Face Punch. No. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Poor Mike can't stomach this movie. must be really bad.
He said he had something bad to eat before the movie, all right? And everybody in town's been... Fuck, everyone in town's been sick recently. This guy's no cream puff, all right?
I'm telling you, Dan is so in the corner. He is the Johnny Cochran for this fucking Mike Newton character,
Poor
man.
Mike's weak stomach. I feel really bad for the guy.
But how can you not think?
Dan, if you like him so much, why don't you marry him?
If I lived in Forks, I would very much consider marrying Mike Newton. All right.
Illegal there.
So he's so not it. I don't understand. Like, you could at least like the other guy, whatever his name is,
who?
The glasses, the yearbook guy.
Oh, that you're talking about perverts. That guy's a pervert.
Mike is no better. No.
Mike is just a normal guy. He goes to the movies. Adorably, he holds his hand out on the thing to get a handhold.
Adorable.
I thought that was adorable. I've done that move, and I mean when I was 17 or whatever. And so he gets upset. There's too much gore in the film, I think. And he runs to the bathroom. He's gotta either vomit or take a shit. We don't know, but I've had to do both on dates. It's something that happens. And, of course, Jacob steps in, all right? They finish the movie, and then after the movie, Jacob is trying to, like, neg this guy, you know? He's calling him a marshmallow. I'm surprised he's not using gay slurs on this asshole.
Yeah, he was. I will say that. That surprised me, Jacob's cruelty. to Michael, because I didn't think Jacob was that kind of guy.
Well, I mean,
well,
Mike
I think that was the wolf
Jacob
coming
being young
out
earlier. He was like, "What are you old enough to go to this movie?" Like he was.
Oh, good point. Good point. That's right. Forgot about that.
You know what? That was a hilarious joke to Jacob's face. Whereas this is Jacob just shitting on a man behind his back.
Because that guy was dragging him earlier, so I feel like it's merited.
Not merited.
Gloves are off in Twilight episode 2 of the franchise.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, he called him a marshmallow. Wow. How will he ever recover?
Does Jacob know that he's a werewolf at this point?
I believe so.
Yeah, because that's what the haircut and
yeah.
Right?
But he gets the haircut after this.
Oh, that's after. You're right. You're right. So no, I think he knows that he could become a werewolf, but he said to Ed. Yeah, no, because he said to Bella, like, oh, we have, like, that's why he's avoiding Sam. Like, he doesn't want to go down that path or whatever. So
there was a throwaway line in this movie that struck me, where Jacob's dad says that it's when he takes Bella to like, learn about his tribe, you know?
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And the dad is, like, giving this whole tribal chief speech, and he says that the vampire, the cold ones, right? They collided with them like many centuries ago or whatever, and they made a truce or whatever. And I think he says something like the magic only comes back when the cold ones are near, and we're expecting something soon. So am I to think that these people have never turned into werewolves before very recently?
I guess throughout the centuries, if there are some vampires around, it happens. But that is a good point, and also it begs the question: Are they essentially not werewolves? Could one of them live their entire life for 80 years
without even knowing you're a werewolf?
Right, because they never encounter that would kind of suck as a superpower. If I was a werewolf, I'd want to be able to be a werewolf whenever I want to be one.
Well, it seems like they can. I don't think they're fucking waiting for the full moon here.
No, but it seems like they can only do it by implication because there's some vampires around.
So just like go move to Transylvania.
Like some initiation. I thought they had to do some sort of initiation. Like I thought that Jacob was not a werewolf until he like cut his hair. I mean,
I think there's probably some sort of ceremony because so here's what I think happens. Jacob goes home that night after the movies going like, oh my God, I got all horned up and aggressive. I called the guy a marshmallow. What the fuck is happening to me, Dad? And the dad's like, let me sit you down, son. Sorry. You're a werewolf. And
I think how could he have not known? Like, what was his?
I think fucking Edward. I think Edward knows before he does. See, that's right. He sees Sam's group and he's like, those guys are assholes at first. And then I think he's told.
He just doesn't want Bella to question it.
I disagree. I think he's not into them.
I think that they all know that the werewolf blood is in their family. I think Jacob believes.
I think only the adults know.
From even the first movie, I think they all know.
That's what I was going to say.
I disagree. Yeah. I think Jacob learns of werewolfism.
Thing about
of lycanthropy.
He talks about it in the first movie. He's like talking.
The walk on the beach.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. He does set it up in the first movie. Is that scene in the books? I wonder.
Don't ask me, but I think that he doesn't yet have the ability to transform in the first book or movie. Like I think he has to go through. So
okay.
I don't think he's like. I don't think he himself is capable of transforming.
But I didn't.
Wait. So let me ask you another question.
But he knows that he will eventually, or he knows that that's his destiny.
Did he actually cut his hair off then, or did he just transform into a werewolf for the first time, and then when he turned back, he had short hair?
and no shirt.
It was the dog pound.
Only the pants grow into your body, not the shirts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I didn't think when they said it was an initiation that it was necessarily some sort of. It could also be ceremonial, but I think it's essentially just puberty because they keep talking to that younger kid when they go to the push.
Seth.
And Seth
and
La Push. And they're talking to him, and it seems just like the older you get, you reach a certain age, and then it's time to transform. I would also like to know the injury sustained by the wolf that put that old guy in the wheelchair, because if he is a wolf at some point, I guess he got caught in a bear trap. Is that why he's crippled?
Well, these wolves, like, shit can happen at a moment's notice. We meet that one woman with, like, a scratched up face. And it says, like, her husband just, like, fucked her up randomly one day.
Don't stare.
That's a complicated relationship.
Don't stare. Sam's a domestic abuser, and he's uncomfortable with people commenting on it.
It seems like if I were to see the way I took that whole love triangle, it seemed like the one who came out of the house and was rather snippy.
That's in the next movie. You're talking about Leah.
Like she was with Sam, and Sam scratched the other woman, and then he felt obligated to be with her and left Leah.
Leah had been imprinted. That's a big thing to know what imprinting is.
No, he says more, Emily's imprinted.
Right, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying imprinting is an important vocab word to know.
Thank you. You're right.
Imprinting is so crucial for Breaking Dawn, Henry. So crucial.
But Leah likes Sam. She would rather have Sam than have Emily.
So it's like, say Leah and Sam, they dated, right? They went to the prom and shit. It was an important high school relationship. Then Sam goes off to college, meets Emily. She's like way more interesting, way better. They date. One night he gets too drunk and cuts up her face a little bit, but she still wants to be with him, all right? Then, he goes back home. They're set. They're engaged. And Leah's just like, what the fuck happened? I didn't think you were actually going to meet anybody over there. Right. That's my metaphor for it.
So imprinting is like, in animal terms, like pissing on each other's territory. Is that essentially what's going on?
It's way more intense. Way more. Like, it's like if you... Like, say, Martha, are you Team Henry or Team Daniel?
For what?
Just in general.
Team Henry.
Okay, so say Martha's imprinting on you, Henry. When Martha Wait, does a woman imprint on a man, or does a man have to imprint on a woman?
I'm pretty sure this is a patriarchal society.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Mormonism. All right, so Henry would be imprinting on Martha. Henry, if you imprint on Martha, then Martha's yours forever. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
It's like there's no question at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can't turn that shit off.
So just a term for you to understand in the future.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean that Martha cannot change her mind, or she is warped?
Are you implying that women have minds?
Well, also,
it's not like a situation where she says,
clear, the possession doesn't necessarily technically mean romantic. Like it does, but it doesn't have to be.
That's masking in the movie,
Martha. It's romantic in the because that's what people say now. But
that's what I'm saying.
I'm watching this Eclipse movie, and he's describing imprinting, and he's just basically describing falling in love.
Oh yeah, it's like soulmate, like But
so Emily,
you can also technically be soulmates with someone not that you're in love with, right? That's what the idea is. You're supposed to take away here.
I don't believe so. All right.
Goodness.
All right.
Hypothetically speaking,
yeah. All right. So Bella now runs into Laurent, the French fella from the first movie. And,
who inexplicably is a bad guy now.
Yeah, he had a heel turn in between movies.
Really a great guy in the first
movie. But he was fully
had morals.
Yeah, and now we
gave the Collins a heads up.
he shows up in a fucking field ready to kill her with no explanation. And we just saw him negotiate like you guys get away. We'll make sure Victoria doesn't get a hold of you. Now he's just out. What's going on there? It just happened. They cut a scene or what?
We just need an antagonist in this scene for the wolf rescue to happen, and we've only set up like 3 in the entire franchise, and one of them's dead already. Yeah.
By the way, these wolves aren't that powerful. I was a little disappointed with that.
Also, the CGI is garbage.
That goes without saying.
They're powerful because they're really huge.
They're really big. Yeah, they're like taller than Bella.
No, they're big, but
Jacob's head is like probably the size of like Bella's leg.
Yeah, but like the vampires, they don't seem to be any match for a strong vampire here.
Let me ask you a question. If you're married to Jacob as Bella, do you ever once experiment by fucking him as the wolf? Like, that's an honest question. Like, if they end up together. Yeah, either.
I don't think that's physically possible.
But no. That's bullshit. Like, he has the mind of a wolf, right? So, like, it's not... I don't think it would be possible for, like, a human woman to, like, convince a wolf to fuck her safely. But, like... But I think Jacob, with the brain of a human, can contort his body in a way that he can make it happen.
I think that you would.
Really? Martha thinks you would.
Me?
I take it that you would.
No, I'm not. I don't. No, I'm not wondering for myself. I'm wondering for Bella and Jacob.
Yeah, and the question was, if you were, would you? And
okay, well, I'm asking instead.
You're asking the question.
Would Bella?
Yeah,
do you
she's
think?
right.
All right, whatever.
I think we've discussed this enough.
Thanks, great. All right, so she gets rescued by the wolves. One of them says, "Guess the wolf's out of the bag." Funniest line of the movie.
That's great wordplay.
Yeah. There's a scene next where Bella asks Jacob if perhaps he could stop being a werewolf because isn't being a werewolf wrong? Which I took to be Stephanie Meyer commenting on homosexuality.
I'm sure it is.
Interesting.
And probably, like, I don't even know, like, something else that's, I mean... I don't know, like the interracial dating or something.
Yes.
They don't date Native Americans.
Yeah.
Confederacy.
Come on. All right, so the werewolves are looking for Victoria, and Charlie's looking for the wolves. We get a big Tom York song during the sequence. More Radiohead in this franchise.
Yeah, baby.
And then Bella jumps off of the cliff and drowns to a Grizzly Bear song. So we're getting a lot of music at this juncture of the film. I was into Grizzly Bear at the time, so that was exciting for me. All right, guess no one else was. All right, so now, because she jumped off that cliff, Ashley Greene has a vision of Bella jumping off the cliff and interprets it to think Bella's committing suicide. So she comes back to Forks to mourn the loss of Bella. But Bella's fine.
Nostradamus.
Yeah, I know, right? Great work.
Get anything?
Edward calls. He's in Rio. We know that because we see the statue of the Great Redeemer in the window behind him. If he was in Sydney, we would have seen the Opera House. And Jacob...
We're gonna get so many... Speaking of that, like, sorry, skipping ahead to Eclipse, but how many times could they show us the Space Needle in that movie?
Oh, you're totally right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh...
But Edward then goes to the Volturi to beg them to kill him because he thinks that Bella's been killed.
Yeah, but Edward calls at Bella at first to check if she's alive, and Jacob answers like a fucking douchebag and doesn't tell Edward that Bella's alive. What an asshole! Like, to me, if I'm Bella, I'm done with Jacob at this point forever.
Yeah. This is why Bella sucks.
This is why Bella sucks. She is. She's all about the drama. So yeah, he runs to the Volturi to request a suicide. Bella hops on a Virgin Air flight and gets there in no time. And
I was wondering if they flew or if Alice just kind of took her on her back and flew across the Atlantic.
How does Edward fly?
Well, I don't get what the vampire's powers are. They're rather nebulous. Yeah, because they're rather nebulous. I mean, did they just jump far, or can they fly?
Can they turn into bats?
Can, like transatlantic travel? I don't think so. But
they can clearly they can be in the sun. So like, I would think they just get on the airplane and try to like shut the window next to you, get a window seat so you can shut it, and then just sparkle as little as possible. That's your only recourse.
Have to shine.
Yeah. So it's St. Marco's Day in Volterra. That's lucky because everyone's in red robes, so they could blend in easy. So Edward jumps outside to commit suicide. I don't really know what he's doing, but he's outside, and Bella sees him. It's a very dramatic moment. We get some slow motion. She jumps across a fountain, and she hugs him. Edward, when she hugs him, immediately thinks he has died and gone to heaven because he's the dumbest motherfucker alive. and
he's just blinded by love.
He's so blinded by love. Has this guy never loved in 109 years?
Oh, definitely not. That's his whole thing.
Yeah, that's pretty hard to believe. I mean, I don't really see.
Is he a virgin?
He's a proper gentleman.
Oh, right.
Charlie likes him. Charlie likes him more and more.
They like
That's right, yeah. I'm a virgin, Dad.
Like Miss Edward more and more.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good Charlie impression.
That was good.
Got my R beer.
Yeah, that's right.
Rainier.
I noticed it this time.
Oh, it says Rainier?
Yeah.
Ah, Dan and I were wondering that last week. Okay, I thought it was like RC Cola.
Classic Northwest beer.
Oh, is it now?
Yeah,
okay.
All right. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's helpful.
That's what I'm here for.
Okay, so the Volturi bring Bella and Edward back into their chambers, where Michael Sheen is. Michael Sheen, of course, spends the next 20 minutes of the movie being incredible, really tearing it up. MVP, no problem.
He starts interviewing Nixon out of nowhere. Nixon shows up to be one of the Volturi, explains a lot. And then
hilarious.
Dakota Fanning shows up, and I was like, I never can understand this actress. I have like this problem where I keep seeing her as the girl in War of the Worlds. So that was
funny.
like
She was such a dynamic kid actress, and now she's like, maybe as an adult, I'll just read my lines flatly with no emotion whatsoever.
And it's just bizarre because I'm picturing like, isn't she like 11? And then she's like in this movie, and I'm like, isn't she like 11?
She's like 30 now.
Not in this movie. In this movie, I think she's
pretty young, right?
Yeah, isn't she younger than Taylor Lautner?
I don't believe so. She wasn't nominated for Best Younger Actress at the Saturn Awards.
Yeah, but she's barely in this movie.
How dare you? She was nominated for Best Scene Stealer.
She was born in 94, so she's younger than Taylor Lautner. He was born in 92.
All right, easy.
Kristen
but I don't understand why she is a like she's a 16-year-old and she's like the ruler of the Volturi. I really don't understand.
Well, she's a 16-year-old outwardly. She could be millennia old, Martha.
I guess yes, queen here. Like we have some non-patriarchal ruling here.
Also, we really believe in the young'uns in this franchise because they say that vampires are at their best and strongest when they're first turned. Which I wouldn't expect to be
the
true.
Newborns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she also has that unique psychic pain power that no one else has.
Right. Well, she uses that in this film, and Michael Sheen has it too. So he like touches Bella's hands and tries to read her thoughts.
No, he doesn't have that. He doesn't have her power. He doesn't have Dakota Fanning's power.
Oh, I know. She can use it like offensively, I guess. Yeah.
Right.
But he can use telepathy. It turns out that Bella's the only person whose thoughts can't be read by Edward, which completely explains why he's so obsessed with her. Because she's like the only person he's ever met that's different.
Explains why he's never been fully in love with anybody before either. If he can read everybody else's minds, nobody's interesting to him.
Yeah, and everyone's a piece of shit. Like, I would think if I could read minds, I would hate everyone within 30 seconds of meeting them.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that.
Yeah, so now you understand.
I do.
It's all clear now.
So no one can read Bella's minds, and that's very interesting to Michael Sheen. So he says, we must kill her because she's a threat to the vampires. They're like, what if we just make her a vampire like us? And he's like, that works for me, I guess. And they're like, can we do it in like a year? And he's like, yeah, that's fine too. So everything's all right.
He's a very pliable evil leader.
Yeah. This Ashley Greene also says she's had a vision of Bella as a vampire, which helps along the situation.
Sure.
All right. Back in the States, the Cullens hold a vote. Who wants Bella to be a vampire? Who doesn't? Edward says no. Nikki Reed's really against it, but everyone else is super into it, especially Kellen Lutz, who picks her up. Okay. Then they run into Jacob in the street. He acts like a moron about it. And Edward says he'd like to age Bella about 3 to 5 years. Like, I think you'll be at your hottest then. And she says, no, do it immediately. And he says, marry me, Bella. And she goes, ah! And that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, clip. Boom. Ciao. Yeah.
New Moon. A classic. The best of the franchise. MVP,
Wrong.
that chair spinning scene. LVP, nobody. No, but seriously, what do you give this movie from 1 to 5, Martha?
I'm going to give it 3. I do think that it's pretty much a perfect version of what it is. So I give it a 3.
I agree. And I am also giving this one a 3.
I was very close to giving it a 3 myself, but I'm still going up that Sisyphean mountain trying to get through some of this really insipid dialogue. So in keeping with how I felt about the first one, this is almost a 3-star movie, but it's not. It's a 2.
All right, that's fine. Who's your MVP, Henry?
Well, it's her turn. Martha.
All right, Martha,
first.
who's your MVP?
How is it my turn? I went first for the stars.
Well, I
Correct.
guess we're
So we're
swinging
in
back
rotation.
around. Yeah.
Okay. I was actually, we barely even talked about her, but I guess Nikki Reed. I liked that she voted no for Bella being a vampire. That was my favorite moment of the movie. So I thought Rosalie was my favorite.
All right, Nikki Reed with a rare MVP. I'll go, I'll go with, of course, Michael Sheen. Yes, and Henry.
I'm going to go my MVP because I feel so bad that this man keeps getting stuck in these movies for these basically entire career. I thought he was dead, and here he is. My MVP is Graham Greene, the great Graham Greene, showing up as Harry Clearwater.
Oh, my God.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do, but listen to you. That's a deep pull. You were just excited to see him.
Graham Greene. Sorry to see him in a movie like this.
I'm sure he got a nice paycheck.
Yeah, oh, that's true. My LVP at this point in the franchise is going to be Mr. Taylor Lautner.
Okay, that's understandable. What about you, Martha?
Yeah, that was kind of between him and Bella, so I'm gonna go with him, I guess, as well.
I'm gonna go with Ghost Edward.
What?
Always a bullshit pick.
It's not a bullshit pick.
You had a word for it earlier, one of you. It was like the evaporation or something.
Vaporizer.
Yeah.
The vaporized.
He only thought of that word because he's been vaping this entire episode.
You're not wrong.
That word was front of mind.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
What a film. Let's get to the next one. Twilight Saga Eclipse. Now,
let me ask you a question before we move on, Dan. Why did you give this 3 and not maybe a 4? If you like it so much, you think it's the best in the first, seems to me.
The ceiling for these movies is a 3. Let's be honest.
All right, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Answer accepted.
Thank you.
Yeah, not pending.
All right, Saga Eclipse. Let's do it. So, what's his face? White's wanted to come back, but they decided to start filming while the last one was like still in post production. They really got this out fast. Did you see the release date on this baby?
No.
June.
I mean, I know it's.
So the last one came out November 20th, 2009. This comes out June 30th, 2010, which like you could sort of understand if it was like a Breaking Dawn 1 and 2 situation. They filmed them back to back, but like to just so quickly, like they were really trying to crank these out.
That's crazy. Actually, it's kind of impressive, to be honest.
It is. We have a new director, David Slade. They probably got him because he does a lot of television and therefore knows how to work quickly. He's a director I have a lot of time for. Got his start in the music video fields, but went on to do Hard Candy as his first film, and then 30
Great
Days
movie.
of... Yeah, I know you like that one. 30 Days of Night, which I think is a good-looking movie, but not a good movie. And then since this, he's mostly done television, I think, but like high profile things. He directed that Bandersnatch thing for Black Mirror, which was like a big deal. It was awful, but it was a big deal at the time.
It's garbage, yeah.
Worst Black Mirror episode.
All right, but how about this? He also directed the premiere and the finale of season 1 of Hannibal, as well as the finale of season 2.
Okay.
Yeah. And, some other shit. He's good. I think he's a talented director.
Yeah. All right, sure.
Despite Bandersnatch, which I've never seen.
Well, you got to remember, Bandersnatch was written, edited, and directed by me when I watched it, and when Martha watched it, she wrote, edited, and directed the movie as well. So
yeah, did you choose Cinnamon Toast Crunch or Fruit Loops?
Yeah, I had to do so much work in that fucking thing.
No, it was something like that. I hated it.
On that fucking thing. I mean, I finally gave up. You know, you realize
for what? Like, there's literally no.
How long, Martha, did you end up like just going with that movie? Like,
probably. I mean, I finished it. It was probably like 2 hours or so, maybe 2.5 hours. That's part of why I was so mad by the end.
I was like at the 2.5 hour mark. Because I guess I made the wrong choices.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I guess I just made all the right choices, but
yeah.
There was zero, like, I don't know, you get nothing from it. There's no redemption, or I don't know. I didn't even feel anything from it. And I love Black Mirror. Like, this episode ruined Black Mirror for me.
One of my favorite things about television is sitting back and watching it.
Correct.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Especially the worst part about this was you couldn't do it on your smart TV. You had to do it on your computer.
Oh,
so like
really?
I had my laptop plugged into the computer with the HDMI cord. I was like clicking on the computer. It was so stupid.
I was able to watch it on my TV.
You must have a nicer TV than me.
I don't know. But I was able to do that, but it was still a chore. Yeah, big chore.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, let's get into it. Eclipse. Rosenberg's back to write. Don't worry about that. Bringing her great female Jew energy. And it's a budget of $68 million and a box office of $698.4, so actually a little bit less. It still came in at number 4 at the box office. Can you guess what the top 3 were here?
2010. Inception.
No.
Toy Story 3.
Yep, that's number 1.
Nice call, Martha. Holy shit. Wow.
I'm really good at this. Harry Potter didn't come out in 2010.
Yes,
so
it
never
did.
mind.
Deathly Hallows.
Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 1.
But it was number 5. Twilight Eclipse made more money.
It eclipsed it, okay.
Very good.
Ooh.
What else was in 2010?
That was a big fucking year.
All right. Number 3 is Iron Man 2.
Letters to Juliet.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
I was about to say a Marvel movie.
Yeah, but were you going to say the Marvel movie, or were you just going to say a Marvel
Avengers.
movie? No, it's Iron Man 2. I just said it.
Yeah.
All right, and number 2 is Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton.
I agree.
Oh, forgot about that one.
Let's get into it. The awards. Skip the themes.
Oh,
all right. Saturn Awards.
Right.
It was nominated for Fantasy, lost to Alice in Wonderland. All right? They liked the Burton Wonderland. KCA's Kristen Stewart nominated for Best Actress. She lost to Miley for The Last Song.
Nice.
All right.
Nicholas Sparks.
That's correct. Nicholas Sparks. Spark the Sauce. Yeah, he wrote Notebook too, so got me laid. MTV Awards. It won Best Movie, Best Actor. Pattinson beat Lautner again. Stewart won Best Actress. They got 2 different nominations for Best Kiss, and one of those won, and it won Best Fight. Jesus Christ.
Was the kiss when Bella punched Jacob after the
I
kiss?
hope so. That is the best kiss in any of these movies.
The sound effect is just that alone.
It's just...
Yeah.
I blinked and had missed the kiss, and I just heard the punch, and I was like, yeah, face punch.
Oh yeah, face punch. It's a callback to the beginning of their relationship. All right, the Razzies. It was nominated for the worst movie of the year, but the winner was The Last Airbender.
Ooh.
All right.
M. Night whatever you were saying.
Yeah,
his name.
Shyamalan. And Lautner and Robert Pattinson were both nominated for Worst Actor, but they lost to Ashton Kutcher, who won for the films Killers and Valentine's Day. All right.
Fair enough.
Which Taylor Lautner was also in.
That's true. Yeah.
And Taylor Swift, too.
Ashton Kutcher, of course, one of my favorite sharks on Shark Tank. Now, Kristen Stewart lost Worst Actress to the cast of Sex and the City 2.
That's great.
They nominated Jackson Rathbone for Worst Supporting Actor, and he actually won because he was also in The Last Airbender. So, double whammy.
Also because in the first 2 movies I did not detect an accent, and in this third movie I heard a southern drawl after he tells his story.
Well, what happened was he didn't read the books, and in this movie he saw in the script that he once lived in the South, and he decided to give it a little drawl.
That was unreal, dude.
Horrible.
Yeah. By the way, Miss Bell, I'm a big fan of the antebellum era, so you can see why I want to eat your blood.
I think Chris Harrison was done dirty, if you ask me.
All right. Dude, Claire, there's a fugitive slave. All right.
Keep doing this, please.
Do this all night.
It lost Worst Franchise to Sex and the City 2, Worst Director to M. Night Shyamalan, and Worst Screenplay to M. Night Shyamalan. Poor M. Night Shyamalan. All right. Teen Choice Awards, it lost Best Sci-Fi Fantasy Movie to Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, so you could take that one home to the bank. Lautner beat Pattinson for Fantasy Actor. Stewart lost to Emma Watson.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's deserving because in that one, she danced to that Nick Cave song in the tent. And that's the best part of any of the movies.
Oh my, yeah, you love that scene.
Yeah. Bryce Dallas Howard is the elephant in the room. And I'm not talking about her waistline. No, I'm joking. She's a beautiful woman. A beautiful woman.
I had to...
What?
A recasting.
That's why.
I didn't realize it's about halfway through the movie, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, that can't be fucking Bryce Dallas Howard, is it? And I had to look it up. I was like, oh my god.
You didn't notice she was 4th billed in the credits, pretty high up.
Pay attention.
I'll say, so apparently she got offered the role in the first movie, turned it down because it wasn't a big enough part, and then. Because the movies got so huge, she went to the studio and was like, hey, I'll do that part now if you want. Yeah. And they fucking took her up on it. They fired poor Rachel LaFave. Yeah.
They want to be in the good graces of Ronnie Howard in case he wants to get on board that Twilight
It's 2010. Ron Howard's directing The Dilemma. Do we really give a shit anymore?
Ron Howard has got the clout, baby. Always has, always will, Mr. Apollo 13.
I don't know. Yeah, it's fucked up, too. They announced, apparently, that it was a scheduling situation. And she just responded in the press like, "No, I would have done it. Fuck those guys."
She said that.
Oh, speaking of Black Mirror, Bryce Dallas Howard in a Black Mirror episode.
I was just thinking that. Yeah, one of the best.
So I mean, they worked together. Oh no, that doesn't mean they worked together before. But
what happened at
show.
the end? Did they realize technology was getting out of control?
You know what?
Yeah, it was social media specifically.
Let me tell you something, you fucking guy. Why don't you watch one of the episodes before you
I
fucking
did. I
twitch
watched
it?
2 of them.
You should watch Nosedive. It's good.
Is that the Bryce Dallas Howard one?
That's why I said it.
Okay. Got it.
What are the 2 that you watched?
I watched the first one.
Oh,
and I watched
big one?
Yes, yeah. And I watched one with like, it was years ago. It's had something to do with like getting phone messages just in your brain.
Oh, what is that one? I know what you're talking about.
This show's like the Twilight Zone. Not everyone's a gem, but most of them are very, very good.
Well, the pig episode is actually really good, so it doesn't taste like that one. But
I agree.
All right. So Bryce Dallas was nominated for Best Villain by the teens, but she lost to Tom Felton from Harry Potter. Harry Potter really taking on Twilight now. The tide has turned once again. But Kellen Lutz wins Best Scene Stealer. Kellen, what scenes is that guy stealing?
I was like, he's not even in this movie. Like, I was gonna say he kind of steals the scene in the first one when he's like, dated an older woman. That's hot. Like, Edward, a great line.
Or when he picks up Bella when she wants to be a vampire. Yeah. Kellen
Putz.
Oh, good one, bro.
Got him.
Ashley Greene won Best Female Scene Stealer again. And Xavier Samuel was nominated for Breakout Actor. Now he's
Seth?
Who's Seth?
Oh, that's Riley. Never mind, that's Riley.
Who's Seth?
Oh, Riley. Seth is the cute little boy.
The young Indian fella.
It's Native American, Henry. Jesus Christ.
The newly initiated.
Actually, they go by Indian now as well, so you should know that if you want to be all politically correct, sir.
I don't think we should be saying Indian.
You can say whatever you want, but I've heard it both ways now.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of thing they can say.
I don't think. I think you're virtue signaling too much. I believe
I'm not trying to.
Yeah, I mean, from Montana,
it reverted back.
Being from Montana, I can say that most people continue to say both, and that seems to be what Native American people prefer.
Great.
That either one is said.
I'm only ever going to fucking refer to them as Indians now, because they gave us shit for so many years. All right? Fuck you, Indians.
I told you, Dan, it's tough to keep up with, baby, but that was one I was a little bit on the train with, you know what I mean?
But why are we changing the Cleveland Indians then?
Because it's not a mascot like that. You don't make them your.
Why can't we just make it look like a real Indian instead of the red faced guy with the feather?
Chicago human beings is our other Caucasians. Like what are we doing?
Yeah, I'm glad I had that one at least. All right, let's move on.
I enjoyed it. All right. So he lost Breakout Actor. Oh, so that Xavier Samuel fella, he was
Riley.
I don't remember their names. He's the one that Bryce Dallas Howard is raising, you know?
Riley.
Right.
No, I heard you say Riley. I don't know who Riley is.
I was like, is my mic not working or something?
Fucking
Riley.
Riley's name. Riley Beers.
Riley Beers. So he loses to Alex Pettifer because that year he was a real big breakout. He was in Beastly and I Am Number 4. Don't even worry about it.
The Beastly was a good one.
You saw that movie? That was like a sexy Beauty and the Beast, right?
Yes. Well, Alex Pettifer was like the misunderstood, like tattooed, like freak.
Yeah, he was a beast just because he had some tats. I have 2 tattoos. Am I a beast?
He had a lot more than 2. Yeah, Beastly was when I saw it in theaters and I was with a friend. And
you got a new tat. You got a jellyfish now?
Yeah.
Portuguese man of war.
I'll tell this story another time.
No, please tell the story. I just hadn't shown off my tattoo to Henry yet.
So there were only 2 other people in the theater. With my friend and I were there, and the other 2 people in the theater were up in the corner, and they used the little curtain to have their fun beastly time as well. So that was eye-opening.
And you were aware of what was happening?
It was very loud, yes.
Were they going all the way?
I mean, I assumed as a 14-year-old, like that was what I assumed was happening. I probably was exaggerating, like what I heard, but yes, that's what the story I tell. Yes.
Huh.
Wow.
So beastly, I have specific memories of.
Martha, have you ever fucked in a theater?
I have not.
Or gone down on someone in the theater like Alana?
No, I have not. Right. I have a feeling you're going to tell a story here.
No, I've told all the stories. We
would have heard it by now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have been on a podcast where you've told a story about that.
I'm sure that's true. Yeah. I like to make myself aware as a sexual being in front of women. So, that's what I do.
We know.
If they had any doubt. Yeah.
All right. It also lost best lip lock to Harry Potter. So how about that? What was the big lip lock in that movie?
That's what I was gonna. Is that?
I think maybe Ron and Hermione kiss in that one.
In part 1.
Yeah.
No, it's isn't it Harry and Hermione in the Horcrux, like the
Oh yeah, that's
the locket.
Sexy. Yeah.
You probably love that scene.
I do.
Second best of the series after the dancing.
No. Second best of the series is that scene in Azkaban where Lupin's showing them their greatest fears, and one of them's a clown.
Oh God! When yeah, you should listen to our Take 5 episodes with Tim. We just talked about that scene.
I'm going to. I want to listen to those. That's what they've been doing recently, gang. They finished doing the books chapter by chapter, and so they're going through the movies 5 minutes at a time. How about that?
5 minutes at a time?
Yeah.
Yep.
How long airtime do you get on the 5 minutes?
An hour and a half, usually.
Wow.
Isn't that wild? We do 2 movies in like 2 hours.
Tim is there, so that does extend the time.
Yeah,
I never have to do research for podcasts with Tim because I know that Tim will just fill.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Well, Tim never stops yapping, With you, sometimes you clam up.
Oh, I didn't know that's what you meant. I thought you meant that I don't do any actual work for the show,
that's what it sounded like, but he covered well.
Well, you don't do the superhero count anymore, I'll say that. And there is a superhero in this movie. Of course, Taylor Lautner played Shark Boy in The Adventures of Lava Girl and Shark Boy in 3D.
And Batman is in this movie as well.
Oh, that's a good point. I guess that's also a superhero, Batman.
Yeah. Well, you do most of the legwork on this show. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. Yeah.
All right, gang. So this film opens on a great Black Keys song, but only for like 30 seconds. We didn't mention that Carter Burwell's gone. Alexander Desplat's doing the score, and it's not as good.
It's not as good, but it's still respectable. And now we're going into Howard Shore.
Yeah, I was going to say he's not a...
I thought...
New Moon.
I didn't realize that. So Howard Shore is involved now.
We are getting 3 very high-profile composers. They
were probably getting a nice offer. These are not low-budget films.
No. But Howard Shore, ever since Lord of the Rings, really hasn't written anything good. So that's the sad part about Howard Shore. When he works with Fincher, he's fucking great. I mean, he wrote the score for The Game and Panic Room and Seven and all that.
Now Fincher's like, yeah, but I work with 9-inch nails now, you piece of shit.
He doesn't need Howard Shore anymore. That's right. I'm not
working with a guy named Howard when I can work with a guy named Trent.
And Atticus.
Yeah. That's true too.
Yeah. But you're right about the no Carter, and I do think Carter's.
He's back for Breaking Dawn.
He comes back.
Yeah.
I do think that's interesting that they put so much stock in giving a shit about who they hired to write the scores for these movies. I mean, I'm impressed with that. Usually it's just a fucking hack for some crap like this, and they really took the time to get somebody good.
Because Alexandra Patsavis, I'm telling you, they hired her as the music supervisor. I'm sure she had a hand in the composer as well. And
know that. Good talk about research.
Well, I told you last week, they hired her off of the OC because she had broken a lot of new bands. She was also, I think, doing Grey's Anatomy at the time. Like, she was really successful in making bands on soundtracks popular.
But that's bands.
No, but she was the music supervisor of the whole franchise, so I don't know if she hired Carter Burwell, but I must think she had a say in who came after.
Yeah, like, let's not get a hack in this role. Like John Williams. All right, let's go.
All right. So Edward, what's happening? He's back, pretty much. They're, like, back in business.
He's back.
Bella wants to hang out with Jacob, because at the end of the last movie, Jacob pretty much said, like, well, when you become a vampire, I'm going to have to murder you. Which is, like, a weird and an alarming thing to hear from your friend.
That wouldn't be nice.
Yeah, and so but that's okay. She gets on the back of his motorcycle, and they drive off together. Edward is kind of a cuck. I think Edward is too, like, controlling of Bella, but I also think he needs to shut this Jacob shit down.
Yeah, well, I think he's just so fucking confident that he's got her.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Jacob's not, like, competition to him at all.
Right.
I also think that literally the only thing he thinks about is keeping Bella alive, and he thinks that Jacob is a boon in that regard.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah. I mean, I can see why he's so confident. I mean, Bella basically, like, says to Jacob, she's like, "Don't ever make me choose, because I'm never gonna choose you." Like, she says it pretty explicitly. So, I mean,
but she also says, "I will never kiss you." She says, "I'll never kiss you until I ask you. Like, don't ever kiss me until I ask you." But then she fucking does in this movie. She asks him.
Yeah, well,
that's a bullshit move. I think in that moment she is legit cheating on Edward.
Because Bella sucks. Okay, so I don't know why this is controversial to say that Bella sucks.
I think Bella sucks in this movie. I'm on Team Bella the first two movies. I think she should fuck herself. But she loses me in this one with that Jacob shit. All right, so she visits Florida with Edward. I guess to, like, see her mom one more time before she's turned into a vampire.
Yeah, Edward's like, it's the last time you can go before graduation. Like, you know what that means.
Meaning I'm going to kill you soon.
My favorite part of this scene is when she is talking to her mom about going to the University of Alaska because they have a, quote, great science program.
I have heard that
about biology, not chemistry. Like, it has
science.
A great science program.
But also, like, when has Bella
I would have written in a, like, if I was writing a story in middle school, like, that's what I would have written about a student going to college.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm going to be a science major in Juneau, Alaska.
What are Bella's actual interests, though? Like, what is she going to go to school to be?
None.
A nun?
No. I mean, she
No, I said none. I don't see her do anything.
Oh.
She's Mormon. She's not going to be a nun.
Yeah, right.
I didn't. Yeah, we don't see her do anything. Actually, that's a good question, Dan. We don't really see her, like, she doesn't draw. She doesn't read.
She doesn't write.
She likes science because that's the class she has with Edward, and she is good at guessing.
I thought she had theater with Edward. They were watching Romeo and Juliet.
That was in her senior year, her junior year, like when she meets Edward. That's in science.
Oh, that's when he gives her that stank look.
They have an English program.
Which is another funny scene. See, there is humor in these movies.
I agree. That first one is the funniest one. You're right. All right.
It's so funny. It's actually a comedy.
So Victoria gets on wolf territory, right? And Jacob, like, I don't even know. They're like chasing after.
So many notes. You took so many notes when Wikipedia is right there for you.
Well, I don't care. Anyway, next scene, Leah Clearwater, Sam's ex. We kind of talked about that already, too. Let's move on. A stranger breaks into Bella's house. I'm like, this is a storyline? How is this a threat? Like a stranger broke into her home, didn't take anything, didn't touch anything. So what?
Well,
he's a
night stalker. He's a night stalker. Edward's very worried. Bella's scared. He's a creepy vampire that broke into her house.
Do we know it's a vampire?
Well, that's what Edward assumes. I think
Edward assumes. Yeah.
He can sense, he can smell like what's human and what's not human. So I think he knows it was a vampire, and he can tell that it was somebody who's trying to trap Bella.
I like how grossed out he is by Jacob's scent.
Gives him the stank look too.
I wouldn't be making fun of stanks if I were you.
Yeah. Fucking dog
That's from New
smelling. Yeah. All right, so then they get the Indians versus vampires history lesson when the Indians used to converge with the vampires on native land,
Yeah, the importance of this scene is the foreshadowing of the woman who sacrificed herself, because that's going to be what Bella does at the end of this movie.
Great point, yeah. I mean, that's sort of what they do at the end of every movie. Like, one of them sacrifices themselves.
But it's the specific slitting their, arm to have blood that the vampires will see, as the temptation.
The distraction. He says,
distraction,
in the story, the native Indian princess distracted them with blood, and so she's going to do the same thing. All right.
I see what you did. You combined Native American and Indian and just said Native Indian.
I'm not going to give a fuck anymore. If these Indians can't decide, then I'm not going to decide either.
I'm going to call them American natives.
All right.
Not that.
American Native American Indian. All right.
I'll just call them Quirrellites or whatever their tribe.
Quirrellites.
Yeah.
Quileutes.
Sure. Jacob makes a play here. He kisses Bella, tells her that he loves her. Bella punches him. Great moment. Edward shows up after this, but not until Jacob drives her home. I would think he would show up right when he kisses her, but he lets her drive her home.
Yeah, that was odd. Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Okay.
I'm telling you, Edward's playing it cocky, confident, and cool. He doesn't care, man. He's totally secure. They have a little heart-to-heart, little man-to-man in the tent, right? That's this movie.
that is what I think of when I think of Eclipse. Scene. When I think of Twilight 3, I think of the tent. That's all I think of.
Bella being spooned by Jacob because she's so cold, and then while she's asleep, the two boys talk about her.
How do they? How does she not wake up during that?
Right, they're not whispering, and they're saying her name a bunch.
Here's the strange thing about one of the many strange things about that scene. The camera keeps panning to Bella's face whilst they're speaking. And her eyes are closed, but kind of moving around. So the implication is she is here, right? But the implication is she has heard this entire conversation.
No.
Well, then when I was
just reminding us who Bella is every time they say Bella's name, they're like, "There's Bella."
I'm with Martha. I think she's just dead asleep during this.
Yeah, I don't know, because there's a little bit of a little grin going on there, and then so when I reread,
I think that's Kristen Stewart's resting face is a half grin.
Oh, it's like a Snow White resting face, just smiling.
A Mona Lisa.
That's right. And then when I reread for this podcast, the plot
on do a lot of research.
Yeah,
that's correct. And when I reread the plot on Wikipedia, it says Bella is awake during this and hears their conversation.
What?
Well, that seems like a Wikipedia writer taking creative artistic license.
Henry went back and edited this Wikipedia article.
No. What's interesting is, of course, that is obviously true. It's Wikipedia, but I actually thought she was awake when I was watching it. I was like, they keep showing her face for a reason. Why else do they keep panning to her fucking face over and over again?
Because Jacob's shirtless holding her. And her face is against his beautiful manly chest.
Well, so then is that because it's after that they kiss, right? So that kind of does make sense that she hears it.
Yeah.
Because she heard Jacob talking about it, so then
that's the
she
move.
Wants him to kiss.
So she's manipulating him in that moment. She doesn't actually want to kiss this guy.
Knows what's going on.
I think she's gaslighting him.
Yeah, she's got the card deck.
So next, they graduate. Anna Kendrick delivers the worst valedictorian speech you've ever heard in your fucking life.
The audience loves it. So she knew her audience. They all were laughing it up like they were at a TED Talk, chuckling and clapping.
Is that what you think laughing happens at TED Talks?
No, I'm saying they looked as fake. Their laughter was as fake as the audience in a TED Talk. Is what I was trying to say. Trying to roast the audience of TED Talks.
TED Talk.
Tim just texted me. He'd like to point out that the dreadlocked vampire Laurent was on a season of House playing a Mormon. All right?
Is he live streaming the show?
He just texted me. I don't know. All right. Listen, next, what happens? Oh, let's talk about those flashbacks. It's time. First, we get Nikki Reed's. And she just
yeah, that was horrifying.
It was dark, yeah.
Okay, so she's describing a man that she was in love with in her earlier human days. She says, Royce King was the most eligible bachelor in town. Okay, and I'm right away. I'm in. Let's hear this story.
And of course, since he was in Boardwalk Empire, the faceless man.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, it's me, Richard Harrow.
That's right, Richard.
Hey, Nikki Reed, I think I'm gonna gang rape you and leave you for dead. Alright? I hope Carlisle finds you. Alright, so Carlisle finds her on the ground, getting fucked 12 ways from Sunday by a bunch of dudes, including Royce King. And he takes her in. Alright? Great origin story. I'm so sorry. All right. What happens with what's his name? Jackson Rathbone. What's his actual name? Jasper. Thank you.
Jasper.
Yeah. Henry, calm down. All right. So Jasper was in the Confederacy.
The youngest major in the Texas Cavalry.
What is it? The youngest major in the Texas Cavalry?
Yeah.
That's something. You know, what an achievement.
Yeah,
so he really built his way up. He killed a lot of Northerners, this guy.
Yeah, he killed a lot of Northerners. I have another question that the first movie raises and then seemingly is dispelled here.
I have the same question.
Okay. So, but you seem to have a firm grasp on this franchise that I don't. So, yes. Apparently, I thought Jasper was a newborn.
Boom. Jasper. Okay.
Well,
but they say that he's the newborn of the Cullens, right? Like, he's the one that reacts the strongest to blood and shit. But Edward has said specifically that he is 109 years old.
And Jasper's 150 years old. So he's older than Edward. So how is he not... I don't understand this.
I'm calling bullshit. I think this is just flat out a continuity error that they didn't fix because the book people would get mad.
Right. Martha?
I was going to say, wasn't it because he was only recently transformed to be like a good vampire? Like he was...
Like, what do you mean a transformation?
Like he was corrupted at first?
Like he just recently got a few...
so you're saying he only stopped drinking human blood most recently.
That's what I'm trying to say. Exactly.
But it is misleading because they make you think in the first movie that he's just turned.
You know what, though?
No,
Martha's right. Martha's nailing this.
But I think, it's because because Edward was with Carlisle from the beginning of being a vampire, and Jasper was with Maria.
Yeah. Maria full of grace, by the way. Did you notice that? It was an uncredited Catalina Sandino Moreno.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
That's a great film, great actress. All right. I wish she would get more work. I love when she pops up and shit.
She was great in this, a scene stealer.
She did steal that one. Well, she did steal it in as much as I was like, is that fucking Maria full of grace? What the fuck? And I was right, yeah.
She's like, lovely and an officer.
Well, he was. He was both those things.
Youngest major in the Texas Cavalry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. All right, so in the meantime, Jacob whittles a little wolf for Bella.
Anytime you can use the word whittle, man, that's good.
I mean, that's what he did. That's what after school, he was just like in the woods, like cutting wood into a little wolf.
A lot of work, dude. Yeah.
This is to remember me. I love that right after this, Edward buys her a competing bracelet and is like, I think I should have some wrist space or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. But that's the thing with Bella is that it is a little obnoxious. You know, she's like, she shows up.
She's getting passed around like Nikki Reed 100 years ago.
And I think that it's like this, I think it's right before the big fight, right? And she shows up wearing this wolf bracelet. And that's kind of like a fuck you to Edward. He like looks at it, you know, and rightly so, and he's kind of like, what is this now?
If
like,
I was Edward, I'd be done with her. Get out of here.
At this point, I mean, God, just take the wolf. He's yours. I don't know. It's just kind of insulting at a certain point. I don't know.
All right, so Charlie gives Bella the sex talk, and Martha gives her the sucks talk, and then they get terrible joke, and then they get engaged. Bella and Edward, great. They go to the tent where Jacob is horrible.
Sorry, we sidestepped listening to Claire de Lune, the sexiest song ever.
Oh, well, but that was a callback to the first movie. Because
that's right.
I'm sure Henry was excited.
It was
Henry,
nice
what is the best classical music to fuck to? Like, what's the best piece? If you want to bone during classical music, what is it?
Sorry, I brought it up.
No, I have one.
Me too, Martha. Me too.
It's Bolero. Bolero's the answer.
Sure. What? Because you got to keep tempo.
It's building.
Perfect
it's
tempo.
Always building. Yeah.
It's always building. That's 15 minutes of perfection of tempo. That's difficult to keep that momentum. I don't know. I'd want some piano music, I suppose, something nice and soft. I mean, I don't know.
You must be so boring to have sex with, Henry. You sound like a boring lover.
Okay, all right. Well, you know, the thing is that classical music. What kind of would you want? A symphony? If you want something really long?
I would think you'd
the planets.
Yes, both the planets is perfect.
That would be great. Yeah.
Just Mars, though.
Oh my! Wow, Martha. Goodness gracious!
Right.
Well, Mozart's Requiem. You know, that would be intense, man.
Yeah, boy, you'd be like having
We've
sex
all
with...
answered, so I think we can move on now.
Okay, great.
Billie Holiday.
All right, so in the tent, what happens? Edward tells Jacob that he'll never force her into anything, ever. Okay? Cut to the next morning. Edward finagles it so that Jacob hears that they're engaged and forces Bella to spill the beans about that.
Yeah, crafty.
All right, this douchebag.
Playing chess, not checkers.
Great,
right.
yeah, 3D chess, baby. So Bella cheats on him, and then they have the big fight with Bryce Dallas Howard's crew. Bryce Dallas Howard's like a nothing in this movie, too. Like, it's not like she has a bigger role than she did in the first one.
No, she doesn't have
Why did she want to be in this so bad?
I think just because they were making money.
And she doesn't even have sort of the cool presence of that other what's her name?
The other one was better.
Yeah, like they essentially they just try to recreate the other one's exact look on Bryce Dallas Howard.
Right. Which is why I didn't notice the change until we got like a full facial close up in the snow. And I was like, oh, all right. Yeah, I like that fight. I thought that was decent.
That's actually a pretty cool fight.
I do think that the fights have improved in each successive movie.
I agree.
Because
and
when
I think
MTV keeps giving this shit like best fight wins and shit, and I'm like, the fights are not that good. So I was noticing.
What even fight is there in New Moon? Like,
I agree, there aren't any. Yeah.
I'm trying to even think.
There probably is, right?
This one's a full-blown fight.
She fights the wolves and shit.
Breaking Dawn does have a great fight.
Breaking Dawn Part 2 has an enormous fight.
And it's, an iconic scene, too.
Very iconic, yeah.
But I think that was in this movie where I figured that the vampires really could outmatch the wolves just in their speed and all that kind of stuff. If you get nerdy about it, it just doesn't seem like the wolves are much more than big, super fast polar bears.
The wolves are just like pure brute strength. Like they're just so huge.
Yeah.
So
right.
But they can rip apart a vampire if they get there in time.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather be a werewolf were I to choose, but I wouldn't want to be that kind of werewolf. I wondered if Stephanie Meyer, I doubt it, because I don't think she was thinking too much when these were coming out of her head.
What? Don't say that.
Oh. But
I think she was thinking a lot. I just think that her thoughts are very stupid.
Right. But so what I was wondering,
simple.
Yeah.
What if they would have made the werewolf like, my favorite kind of werewolf is like when you're like the Jack Nicholson, Lon Chaney kind of werewolf, where you're like still look like a man, but you've got all the, you know what I mean? Not the full on turning into a wolf. That would have made an interesting visual dynamic.
The best one is when you do full on turn into the wolf, but you can choose it, but more of a human lycanthrope. I wish it was a Teen Wolf situation. Imagine if Jacob was a Teen Wolf. He'd be so much more likable.
That's kind of what I meant. I mean, but in Teen Wolf, Michael J. Fox really looks like a wolf. You can't see any of his actual human.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I like a happy medium. I like you could still see the actors, a little, not that I want to look at that punchable face again, but but anyway, so they go for full-on wolf here, and it's essentially just they cease to be any kind of real character. They just turn into monsters. So
I think the wolves look worse. I think they look worse than American Werewolf in Paris, which we just covered, which came out like 20 years earlier.
I don't think so.
It's strange to me that, I don't really think these are werewolves, right? Because this has nothing to do with the full moon, and
they're just wolves.
They're wolves.
Yeah, why'd they call the second
people.
one New Moon? They don't have anything to fucking do with moons.
Right. Well, then why do they call this one Eclipse and Twilight? I feel like they're not actually werewolves, but as far as the characterization when they're in their wolf form goes, I do have to mention the scene where Bella is standing next to Jacob and rubbing his head.
I loved that moment.
Giving him
and to me, I think she sees him as a wolf, so it's like a cute thing. The impulse is to rub the head. I think she's got to stop rubbing that head. She's leading him on.
I think the answer is if she wanted to, she would here. That's the answer here, is all I'm saying.
Oh.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah. All right, so, there's a little girl in the fight. I wasn't sure what the fuck was going on in that, but I read it's from a novella that Stephanie Meyer wrote.
So that's important to note, that this is actually Eclipse is a combination of two stories. The film is not just based on the book Eclipse, it's based on Eclipse and the short second life of Bree Tanner.
Yeah, she's the young female vampire Bree Tanner. Do they just fucking kill her at the end?
Yeah.
What the fuck? The Cullens just let her get murdered.
They save her in order to kill her.
It's ridiculous.
It's pretty
They don't want to piss off the Emperor and his
they show up for no reason at the end of this movie. What is Dakota Fanning doing there?
To remind us that they exist.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Yeah. That's right.
To set up the finale, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's the end of the movie. What do you give this one? It's a 2. It's a 2. I'll just say it.
What? No, I give it a 3 as well. I think it's better than New Moon. So I can't give it a 4, but I would give it higher than. I can't go lower than 3.
The 3 is a ceiling, yes.
Exactly.
Henry?
I am in agreement with Martha.
That's insane.
It's my first 3 of the series. I liked it. I liked it more than New Moon.
Got a good fight scene.
Got a good fight scene. We picked up the pace a little bit. We had a little less of the one-on-one talks between the romantic leads that were so deadening for some of these other things. And I just think we're picking up the pace a little bit. I'm hoping it stays at this speed for the next 2. From what I'm gathering from your guys' opinions, it seems to, perhaps.
Keep in mind that the next 2 are 1 book stretched into 2
right,
movies. So. Right.
But, it was still hard for me to morally go 3. I wanted to go 2, but I'm a man about it, and I got through this. This was all right. This was the better of the Twilight movies to me.
See, this is why I'm Team Henry.
Yeah.
Aw, well, thank you.
I guess I understand. Who's your MVP, Martha?
Me first again.
Oh, well, I'll go. That's fine.
Yeah,
you know what? I'll just straight up go Mike Newton.
He's not in this one.
Oh, that's right. He's not. You're right. I'm thinking of the last one. All right. MVP. Let's see.
He was robbed in the last one. I was fully expecting you to give it to him last time.
You're right. It should have been fucking Mike
You missed
Newton
that
in the last
opportunity.
one. Oh.
Instead, you said Michael Sheen. I heard Mike, and I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna give it to Mike Newton.
No,
Michael Sheen.
I guess I stand by that. I don't know. MVP. Who's good in this? I'll go with Charlie again. He gives her the sex talk. That's a good scene.
Going back to Charles, I like it. So he's your MVP. Who's the LVP for you?
Oh, for this film, I'll be going with Jasper because it made me reframe his entire character. Like in the first movie, when they meet up with Laurent, do you think he's thinking about how that person should be enslaved?
I am now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my LVP as well. If he wasn't in the movie, my LVP would be.
Do you
Bryce
think he has a problem with the high school and Forks being integrated?
He's obviously got a problem with it. I mean, he's from 1862. What are you gonna do?
Or LVP Bryce Dallas, you said?
No, it has to be Jasper. But if he wasn't, if that reveal hadn't happened, it would be Bryce Dallas Howard. Because I think she can be hit or miss as an actress, and I really don't like her.
I think she's neither hit nor miss in this. She's just a non-entity.
Not there, yeah.
Well, that's a miss to me, and especially for getting rid of Rachel Lefevre. And so Jasper. So my MVP in this particular Twilight film is going to be Robert Pattinson, who I think is getting into the role in a little better. He's a little better in this.
The thing is, Jacob, I think that we need to protect Billa.
He's Australian now.
Oh, I can't do a British accent, so I just do Australian for everything.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
His American accent is trash. It is trash.
Very bad.
It is garbage.
No,
excuse me. In America, it is pronounced bin, not bean. All right, buddy.
No, he's from another time.
All right. Did we do everything?
No. My MVP
okay,
or LVP. My MVP is the Space Needle. It shows up many times, and shout out to Seattle.
Why wasn't your MVP the Great Redeemer in the last one?
And my LVP, I have to also give it to Jasper because I can't be the one person who doesn't give it to Jasper on this podcast. I guess we've done everything.
We've done everything now. Listen, I want to say before we go any further, fucking listen to the Real Weird Sisters, right? That's a great show.
It is a great show. Yeah. That is found anywhere you listen to podcasts, The Real Weird Sisters. And you can listen to our Take 5 episodes with Shut Up Tim. Sometimes. We don't do those every week, but every few weeks.
Yeah, if you've never listened to that show, that's crazy. Like, what a great show. You should not be getting any new listeners from this show. Because if you haven't tried it, you're wrong. It's one of the best podcasts out there.
How long have you been doing that show now, Martha?
5.5 years.
Oh, that's about exactly as long as we've been doing
They
this
started
one.
at a very similar time as you guys. Yeah.
I think they started like 2-3 months before us, actually.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
You guys started before us.
Oh, maybe.
We started in May 2019, or maybe May 2016.
And we started June.
June.
Yeah, so right before us, yeah.
Wow.
It might have been April for us. But,
Wow.
All right.
But you were doing Surviving Survivor. That's why I was okay.
Right, that's true. I started that in 2013. Okay, so listen to that. Do you have anything else to promote, Martha?
Twitter, Real Weird Martha, and Letterboxd, also Real Weird Martha. I'm very active on there. So Henry, I just followed you.
Oh, great. All right, cool.
Yep, and
Good.
and Martha, of course, is in our Survivor Fantasy League, which she launched, and
we don't need to talk about that.
And none of her players made it to the merge, so that's exciting stuff.
Daniel, you're not watching Survivor anymore?
No, I dropped it. I hate it.
It's a shame.
I know it's a show that has meant more to me than most things in my life, honestly, and it saddens me greatly that. Like, the last episode I watched, I, like, had a bummer night because of it. Like, it ruined my night. So I stopped watching it.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I hate that fucking shit.
Protect your peace. It's fine.
I hope it improves. Anyway, in the meantime, what else? Is that all, Martha?
Yep.
Martha's the fucking best. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, Martha.
Thank you for having me. Always a
Very
pleasure.
fun. Very fun, very fun.
All right, patreon.com/thefranchise. You could, for all your needs. We Love Kids Movies is on a brief hiatus with Shut Up Tim, but we've got Comp Beast this week talking about Big Brother 3. And have you ever watched that season, Martha?
Yes, of course.
It's wild shit. I've never seen any of these Big Brother seasons.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I started watching 15, so this is all new to me.
Okay, well, three's a classic.
It is. It seems that way.
Definitely Stan Danielle.
I do. All right. Well, that's good to hear. All right. I also like Marcellus. I hope that's normal.
Marcellus, of course.
Great.
What about Amy?
Loved Amy. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
do what you want, Marcellus. You know I don't care.
Classic. All right, Henry. What a fun time. Do you have anything to promote?
You can follow me on Letterboxd. This week, the end of the month is nearing.
Yeah,
it's going to be a new moon, so there'll be 2 new Patreons from Dan and I. I believe it'll be
Order Up and a Game.
And a game.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be nice. Next week. What's happening next week, Dan?
Oh, yeah. Well, we will hopefully have a special guest, which I'm really excited about, but I don't like to say the special guests on the air just in case they fall through. And we'll talk about Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Parts 1 and 2 with her. So that'll be really good. Those movies are fucking crazy, Henry.
I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. You should be. Yeah. All right. So... great times. And I'm putting on a song. Here, this is Meet Me on the Equinox by Death Cab for Cutie.
All right, everybody. Peace out. Happy trails.